And crafted THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 products? Then float on over to ounceofhope.com. On top of the widest selection of luxury edibles and smokables, their customer service team is high quality and prepared to help select the right cannabis product for your needs. Their knowledgeable team will have you flying high with a smile. That's ounceofhope.com, made locally in Memphis. Ounce of Hope is Memphis Flyers' best cannabis shop 2 years in a row. Legal THC delivered to your door. ounceofhope.com.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. It's a primal, wild freedom, a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, sound effects guy. No. We really lost our stride at the end there. Get 24/7 roadside assistance with Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Roadside assistance subject to policy terms and limits and may require comprehensive coverage.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. It is Election Day. Caroline Fenton, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How we doing?
Outstanding. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
So I think we should start with the election, who we're voting for, why we're voting for them, who we think should win.
All the politics. Exactly what our listeners tune into this show for.
I mean, we should just load them with takes.
Political opinions.
That's all we should do. No. No. What we are going to do is something that Joe Rexroad decided he was going to criticize me for. Joe Rexroad decided that he was going to make fun of the fact that I work my butt off with watching the tape. And last night, after, I got home from work and I was sitting there and I'm like, I got the Monday Night Football game or I can watch the tape. Thank God I chose to watch the tape because it sounds like the Monday night game last night wasn't very good.
Pretty brutal game.
And so I watched the tape last night, and with that, it is time to enter Jared's Film Room.
Ooh.
You are now entering Jared's Film Room.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, Joe Rexroad. How you like that? So I watched the tape, and I was watching Malik Willis. And look, I think everybody knows that the way that I feel about Malik Willis is that he shouldn't be the backup quarterback. That he's just not good enough. He's not ready to play. He's not going to help this team win games now, which, given the landscape of the AFC, that's exactly where they are. And that's exactly what I saw on the tape. The tape was not kind to Malik Willis for the second week in a row. Now, let me preface it by saying this. I don't know, what the standard going rate at the quarterback position is for a young quarterback. Like Trevor Lawrence, for instance. How many bad plays over the course of a game does Trevor Lawrence make? How many bad decisions does Trevor Lawrence make? And so I don't have a basis for what's good for a young quarterback and what's not. I'll use Justin Fields as a similar example because, I didn't know if Justin Fields was any good a month ago, but now it looks like Justin Fields has turned a corner, and I actually think that Justin Fields might be a decent quarterback. Now, it's still early on these guys, so I don't know. But Malik Willis, when I watched the tape, I think I broke it down into a couple different categories. First off, I did pluses, minuses for bad plays, and then, NAs, which is not a bad play, not a good play, just kind of a play. And Malik Willis had, let's start with the good news, according to me. Malik Willis started off with 7 pluses. So there were 7 decisions or plays or whatever that Malik Willis made that I said, that was a good play, that was a good decision, that was a good keeper on the RPO, that was whatever you want to make it out to be. That was good. 12 bad ones.
Not great.
And 6 non-applicables. And some of the bad ones, were brutal. And I the way I figured it was with Malik Willis, is that standard for a young quarterback? I don't know. But I know that the Titans, for every, 25 decisions, can't have half of them being bad. And that's what it was. 12 bad decisions out of 25 by my count for Malik Willis. And some of them were awful. Like there was one on an RPO where it's 3rd down and 5 and Malik decided to keep it and the linebackers for Kansas City are hedging on one side or another and it's him and Hilliard. And if he just gives the ball to Hilliard, who's right there at the mesh point, Hilliard just runs right up the middle and picks up the first down. The lane, it's like a runway for Hilliard just to go right up the front. He runs an RPO to start the second half where he gives it to Derrick Henry, who gets 1 yard. If he keeps it and goes around the end, he's got Jeff Swaim running with him, and it's probably a 25-yard gain. The other thing that got me was for all the anti-Downites out there, and again, I don't like Todd Downing either, but I didn't blame Todd Downing for this game. There was one drive where the Titans ended up scoring a touchdown, and Todd Downing drew up touchdowns on the previous 2 plays, and Malik just didn't see it the first time, and he missed the throw to Hilliard the second time. Just wide open, walk into the end zone touchdowns. Mike Vrabel gave Malik Willis credit yesterday for a ball to Chigakonkwo that he missed him on, and he missed him by like a foot. And Vrabel was like, well, it was a good throw because it wasn't behind him. I'm like, what? So it's good that it wasn't worse than bad.
It's good that it wasn't the same issue Malik has been having, but it was a different issue.
So we didn't complete the pass on first down when everybody thought we were going to run it, and we called a great play by running a play-action pass, and all of Kansas City's guys were sucked up at the line of scrimmage, and Chigakonkwo had his man, and Malik puts the ball out there, but because Malik didn't throw it to the defensive player, it was a good play, according to Vrabel.
Oh, there's 2 ways of looking at that. Is that good for Vrabel in terms of his development? That, hey, you've been making a mistake and you fix that mistake. Or is it a good in terms of winning football games? Because it doesn't really help you win football games. I guess it does show development.
Here you are in overtime. You're down by 3 points. You run the ball with Derrick Henry the first time because you don't trust the quarterback to throw it. The second play, they call a tight end screen. And Malik Willis crapped his pants. A tight end screen. Guess what? On screens, the quarterback's going to get pressured and the quarterback's going to get hit. And so Malik knows it's a screen. Before he ends up taking the snap, he knows what's about to happen. All the linemen are going to go off to the side, and they're going to set up a tight end screen for Jeff Swaim. Now, whether or not you want a tight end screen for Jeff Swaim, there's one pro. That's nobody's expecting it. There's a bunch of cons, the biggest one being that Jeff Swaim is not athletic and he sucks. But I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, okay, you have to stand in there. The quarterback has to stand in there. He got spooked. And then he ran and took off, and he lost like 9 yards on a sack. You can't take sacks in the 2-minute drill, especially when the play is designed for you to stand in there and take the hit. And if he delivers the ball to Swaim, it's probably like an 8, 9, 10-yard gain, and the Titans are moving the ball. So, we can get mad at Downing, but that play was designed for a certain thing, and Malik didn't even try for that. And then on the next play, where it's 3rd and 21 or whatever, and again, it's overtime, so you have to throw it, and you're losing. Malik, those guys weren't wide open by any stretch of the imagination, but they weren't like Chris Collinsworth said. There's nobody open for them to throw the ball to. What are they going to do? It wasn't that bad. You got to throw the ball, babe. You got to throw it, Malik. And he didn't do that. And so all in all, I mean, guys, the film does not lie. Malik stinks. And again, I don't know what Justin Fields looked like this time last year. I don't know if Justin Fields, for every 7 good plays, there were 12 bad plays. I don't know. But it's not helping this team win football games right now. It's not going to help this team win football games. And even like some of the throws that he made, the one to Hooper off of his back foot, I don't want Malik Willis getting in the habit of running backwards, throwing off his back foot, and launching a ball. And he also threw it behind Hooper, who was wide open the whole play and had to like turn over and make the catch. I don't want that bad habit being developed. And then on top of it, every single true throw that he made was in the shotgun, and it was predetermined at the snap. So Malik's standing there, and he knows he's got man coverage, and so he knows where he's throwing it, and so he lifts his leg up, and Nate Davis puts his hand under Ben Jones' butt, and Ben Jones snaps the ball, and Malik knows he gets it, he looks where he's going, turns his shoulders, and throws it. You could do that. Now, you probably couldn't throw it where he throws it to, but you could literally take the snap and not look at the field at all.
Well, if I know exactly where I'm going and I don't have to read a defense and just say, go to the right. Okay.
That's what he did on the ball to Hooper. That's what he did on the ball to Hooper where they didn't call pass interference. That's what he did to the ball on Westbrook-Akine. That's what he did on the ball to Connolly. And for all of the flack that the wide receivers got, and they earned some of this, the only truly horrendous wide receiver play was the one from Conley. That one was inexcusable.
You have to catch that ball.
That was a great pass. That was
right
beauty.
in his hands. I mean, the Westbrook-Akine catch too. Like, you should probably make that, but it's not as blatantly, obviously a bad miss that the Chris Conley catch was.
I thought
lack of catch.
I thought the Westbrook-Akine one was probably 2 steps underthrown. Mm-hmm. So Westbrook-Akine's running, turns around, has to jump back to the ball, as opposed to Malik, who's supposed to have this rocket arm. Malik's got to put it out in front of him so that he can just go out and get it, like he did for Conley, which was a beautiful throw. Here's the truth, people. Malik Willis, right now, is a total work in progress. I do not know what the progress will be. I don't know if he'll ever learn to read the field. But right now, he can't read the field. I don't know if he'll ever get comfortable throwing the ball from under center. But he did not throw the ball from under center the other night. I don't know if he'll ever make the right decisions consistently in the RPOs. And those are tough decisions to make. I don't know if he'll ever do that. I don't know if he'll become a more accurate passer with the ball to Okonkwo, with the ball to Hilliard that would have been a touchdown, with the ball even for Westbrook-Akine. I don't know if he'll ever be those things. Maybe, maybe not. I also don't think Malik's an elite athlete at the quarterback position. I think he's a good athlete for a quarterback, but you watched last night, that is an elite athlete at the quarterback position. Malik's not that. Malik's a good athlete.
Lamar?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like Malik's going to try to juke out these linebackers. You're not going to try to run. Just go. So all in all, I thought the Malik tape was terrible. I thought it was really awful, and maybe I'm harsh because he's young, because everybody will say it was only his second game and cut him some slack and everything else. But now you have to go to Arrowhead in the playoffs because you lost this game that was very winnable that your defense gave to you. And instead of, okay, well, let's make sure this doesn't happen again by getting a better player in there to play backup quarterback, it's more so like, okay, if something happens to Tannehill, even if it's in the middle of an AFC wildcard game at home against the Dolphins, it goes from our goal is to win to, let's see if this third-round quarterback can be any good.
And that's the thing. That's the real indictment on this loss here, because did we expect anything different from Malik Willis? A third-round quarterback out of Liberty that ran a borderline high school offense, if we're going to be completely honest. I can't blame that on Malik Willis. He is in his development where he is. That falls on John Robinson and not finding a better solution at quarterback when you know your backup quarterback cannot go into Arrowhead and win a game when you absolutely positively need a win.
I am in total agreement. I concur 100%. Here's the other little tidbit from the Jared's film room. I thought Downing called a pretty good game. And I'm an anti-Downite. And I think Todd Downing called a pretty good game. I mean, I showed it to you before we went on the air, but I mean, there's guys wide open all over the field. I mean, that's how
there
Ryan
were such
Tannehill,
clear paths to the end zone that just weren't utilized.
I mean, just guys wide open all day. You guys get mad. He didn't run Derrick Henry enough in the second half. Yeah, because he ran a play-action fake with Derrick Henry and got Chigakonkwo wide open 20 yards down the field going for the kill shot.
And you're going to run Derrick Henry on 1st and 20?
I mean, it's just that is Jared's film room. Your thoughts, 615-737-1025. But the tape was not kind to Malik Willis. And I tried to grade, honestly, as positively as I possibly could. Like, I really, truly tried to not throw Malik under the bus. But I hate to break it to you, when the coordinator calls a tight end screen in overtime, you can't get spooked out and start running around because there's no other options. The tight end screen is for the tight end. 615-737-1025. We're off and running with that. 615-737-1025. Plus, the one thing Mike Vrabel's doing with Malik Willis that I'm not sure I've ever seen Mike Vrabel do, and he's doing it for Willis. We'll get to that and we'll get your thoughts. Stillman and Company rocking and rolling today on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guy.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
Okay, smile naturally. Perfect.
Cam's Photography knows wedding season ramps up in a flash. They need to say I do to a studio assistant before clients go full bridezilla.
I'm so sorry. I have to get a different lens. I'll be right back.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall, well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Malik, I know one of the concerns in the week one was kind of the hesitation at times on passes. Did you see any change, any improvement in week two in that regard?
Yeah. I thought that he was more decisive. I think there were some things that could have obviously been better, but I thought even Chig, I thought he tried to flatten Chig out, and we just got to get Chig on the same page with Malik, and he threw it in a spot where it was going to be Chig or nobody, on the over route. So, there were times where he was putting the ball where we wanted it, and we just have to be more consistent. The throw to hoop on the move. I mean, that's a fantastic throw. It's an unbelievable play.
There you go, Vrabel. Did you see more decisiveness out of Malik? There's a lot of things that we would have liked to be a little bit better. The one where he didn't connect with Okonkwo. We got to get those guys together. But it was a good throw because, he put it out in front. So Chig was the only guy who could get the ball. And then the one where he threw it off of his back foot.
You're avoiding a turnover, which...
The Hooper was but the Jared's film room tape does not lie. 7 good plays by Malik, 12 bad ones, 6 that are non-applicable by my estimation. But here's what bothers me. I think Vrabel's making a bunch of excuses for Malik. And that clip was an example of one, but listen more as Vrabel goes on when he's asked questions about Malik. So he was asked about the RPOs. Now, we talked about it in the Jared's film room. The RPOs, Malik made a couple of good decisions and a couple of really bad ones. Mm-hmm. And so Vrabel was asked about that.
Time or two where Malik was able to use a design run or the RPOs to make some sizable gains. Did you just not get that look often enough to be able to use that set more?
Well, we used it. There were some opportunities, and then whether he gave it or not, we'll look at the decisions and had a keeper, and we'll talk to him about pressing the line of scrimmage, and had probably Cody, and again, these things are new, and the speed is new, and felt like he could have continued to press the line of scrimmage and be able to progress to Cody. I just don't think he realized that he still had 4 yards to go for the line of scrimmage, and we'll show him that to be able to try to get another gain, and we'll continue to mix those things in. We'll talk to him about taking care of the ball. The ball security is something that's critical when quarterbacks or anybody runs with the football. So those are things that we'll continue to coach. And
you see what I'm saying? I
don't think he's making excuses.
The game's it's a different speed, and he had Cody wide open. He didn't know where the line of scrimmage was.
Is that not the truth though? That the speed of this game is drastically different than what he is used to. And I don't think he's making excuses for Malik. I think he's trying to protect Malik.
What do you mean?
I think that he knows that Malik hears all of the chatter. Don't you think that that's a confidence killer? They're trying to develop him. And if you just kill his confidence by saying, all these open reads that he missed or all of these opportunities that Malik didn't take advantage of, well, that doesn't really do much for his confidence, and that doesn't necessarily do much for the narrative. I don't think it's about making excuses. I think it's about trying to protect a rookie quarterback that they probably know isn't really ready to perform at this level.
Don't you think the bigger way to kill his confidence is to stick him on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs and have him embarrass himself?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But I have already expressed that I think that is a knock on John Robinson for not doing more to, 1, protect Malik Willis, and 2, win football games. That's not on Mike Vrabel.
Oh, I think that the Malik thing's on Vrabel.
Why?
You don't think he has a say in this? He could have played the other guy.
Of what? I tried to go get a backup quarterback, and John Robinson said no?
No, he could have played the other. He could have played Logan Woodside if he wanted to. I mean, he could have.
Yeah.
If you knew, and again, I kept saying this during training camp. You guys, this is not about Logan Woodside because I don't think Logan Woodside's any good. But I kept saying this during training camp when we would watch these preseason games against Baltimore or Tampa Bay, and I'm like, are you really going to put him in there in a game? And I kept using the Giants game because that was the first game.
Right.
But are you really going to put him in there against the New York Giants and say, all right, babe? And they're like, yeah. And it's like,
to your point, he could have put the other guy in there. Well, they made up their mind a few months ago.
I know. That's criminal. Like, Vrabel should have seen all of this coming because I did. I saw all of this coming. Remember when they played hell? And everybody was like, well, they didn't scheme for Arizona, so it's different. I think they schemed for the Chiefs last week.
I would hope that they schemed for the Chiefs last week.
I think they practiced that tight end screen at the end of the game that he didn't throw the ball to and didn't stand in the pocket for.
I'm sure they have.
And he took the 2 sacks. He panicked. He panicked at the end of the game. And so, we're talking about confidence. Listen to this one. This was a doozy from Vrabel. This was, even for Vrabel, this was a doozy. So he was asked about Malik's improvement. And listen to where Vrabel's train of thought goes to.
Improvement from Malik from one game to the next, and were there some things he could have done better in the second half when things weren't going well around him?
Yeah, there's always improvement, yes, and then there's things that all of us could have done to be better. You got to convert some third downs and be able to stay on the football field, and what I like is everybody's disappointed. Everybody knows the opportunity that we had. Offense is, wishing that they would have been able to help the defense, but I didn't hear one time, and I can promise you I won't, about the defense having to go out there and, man, they can't get a first down. I'm lucky that doesn't happen. It's easy to do. Human nature says that you start pointing fingers or, hey, man, I don't want to be out here 100 plays. You guys aren't doing your job. And, everybody, I believe this, is in it together. Again, I go back to the special team. You watch Hassan run down there, stone the guy on the kickoff, and guys are jacked up and excited. And that stuff will always be important to me because I know it makes a difference.
Yay!
What?
That thought crossed my mind after the game. About
the players being like, this guy sucks. What are you doing to us?
Yeah. No, not necessarily that. More so the defense being like, yo, you guys are not pulling up your end of the bargain pretty much this entire season other than Henry.
Like, what more do we have to do?
Yeah, did you hear what Jalen Ramsey said the other day?
Yeah, well, he's kind of a crybaby.
Well, I'm just saying,
And I didn't hear what he said. What did he say?
Well, he was, because you know how Tampa Bay came back in the last second there?
Sure.
And he was complaining about, how the defense has got to go back out there and make another stop. Well, we already made our stop, he was saying, we shouldn't have to go back out there and make another stop and all this kind of stuff.
He's such a loser.
So, that thought crossed my mind at some point the other night.
And I don't think it's an accident that Derrick Henry shook each defensive player's hand after that game. Because he knows, he gets it. Defense was on the field for over 40 minutes.
I know.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
But to sit there and be asked a question about the improvement of the quarterback and then to turn into, Hassan Haskins, when we were winning the Sunday night football game that nobody thought we could win, especially us because we know how bad our quarterback is, that when we were winning the Sunday night football game at Kansas City and we made a great special teams tackle, our entire bench got excited. What's that have to do with Malik?
Yeah, that was just word vomit from Vrabel. I understand the sentiment of the defense deserves more, and the offense isn't giving it to them.
So here's the thing about the Titans that I can't understand. This is with Vrabel as the coach. In 2019, throughout the first half of the season, the Titans defense, the Titans were the Broncos, the Broncos now, where the Titans gave up I think it was 13 points a game. They were allowing 13 points a game through the first 5 games, 8 games of the season when they made the quarterback switch. Mm-hmm. And it was if they could just find another touchdown per game, they're going to win all these games. And then they switched the quarterback and they did. Then the next year, the offense was number 2 in the league and the defense was freaking horrendous. Mm-hmm. And now the defense is elite and holding Kansas City to 20 points in an overtime game in which they're on the field for 41 minutes. And the offense sucks. Some guys are good offensive coaches and they never have a good defense. And some guys are good defensive coaches and they never have a good offense. And Vrabel's he's over here, he's over here, he's over here, he's over there. But I don't want to distract from the Malik thing because I think that's the whole point of the Vrabel rant right there of him talking about, asked about Malik's improvement and turns
talk
it
about
into
the defense.
Our team, nobody's pointing fingers at each other.
Well, that's classic Vrabel.
But there's one finger to point. And we don't, Dylan Radins doesn't get all these chances. Like Dylan Radins, they drafted him to play just like they drafted Malik to develop as a quarterback, and they stuck Dylan Radins out there in training camp last year, and he sucked, and so they didn't play him, and then they stuck him out there in training camp this year, and he sucked, and so they don't play him. And Caleb Farley, they gave him a chance because they drafted him high, and he sucked, and so they don't play him anymore, and so they don't treat Caleb Farley this way, but Malik, it's like, dude's blowing the game, and it's like, no, that's it. Yep, he's our backup quarterback.
Well, you say there's one finger to point. Do you mean to Malik?
Of course there's one finger to point to Malik.
How fair is that? What did we expect?
Football.
And I'm not saying that justifies Malik Willis and his performance and losing a football game, but I can't place the blame on Malik Willis when we all expected this.
How can you not place the blame on Malik?
Because I placed the blame on John Robinson. Because I placed the blame on this team not setting up this team to be able to win games. If Ryan Tannehill went down, we all said if Ryan Tannehill gets injured, you're not going to win very many games with Malik Willis as your quarterback.
We all did not say that. We said that. Everybody else was like, put Malik in, give him a chance. We're like, no. We've seen training camp. Don't do that.
But, I mean, what's happening? You know, you barely squeak by the crummy, crappy Texans, and you're not able to hold on to a lead on Sunday Night Football.
I mean, they kind of blew out the Texans, but that's minutia. But, yes.
Final score didn't show that.
I mean, I look at it like, you're not wrong about the John Robinson thing, about how can this guy be your backup quarterback if you're a contender in the AFC?
And that's my thing. He's
how
a rookie third-round quarterback. What do you expect? Would it be better to have a better quarterback? Would it be better to have Bailey Zappi and take him in the 4th round? Sure. But, like...
By the way,
that's
in Boston,
not Malik Willis's problem.
In Boston, they've decided not only are they out on him, they're also out on Mac Jones. They've decided
they're out on Bill too, probably. Huh?
Oh, they're so mad.
They're out on everybody.
And they won on Sunday. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into your phones. 615-737-1025. Plus, I feel like I'm the only person in the world who thinks this about the Titans quarterback situation. I think I'm the only person on planet Earth who thinks this. And I do not understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, of course, we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Every Monday at 6, it's the Eddie George Show live from 6th and Peabody.
When we hit the turf and clock in, we're locked in and we're committed to our craft.
Each week, the former Titan and current TSU head coach will be joined by Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton.
Props to you and your staff, but also to the kids that have bought into everything you're saying.
And special guests to break down the Tigers' latest game and talk all things football. The Eddie George Show, Mondays at 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event. With savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond. November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Tune in to ESPN 102.5 The Game every Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 for ESPN's Trevor Maddich joining me, Jared Stillman, on Stillman and Company as we dive deep into the college football world and all the latest from the SEC. It's all brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Hey, it's Joe Rex. I invite you to start NFL Week 10 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. This doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel. If you have an account, you're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. Same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine bets for a chance at a bigger payday. And, I know that the Panthers-Falcons may not get a lot of people excited. It was an incredible game just a couple weeks ago. If I'm looking at this as a same-game parlay, I am looking at Falcons. I think the Falcons complete the sweep here. I'm going to look at DJ Moore with an anytime touchdown. I'm going to go with the under on this. A lot of under in the NFL this year. But you do whatever you want. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, bet the NFL Thursday. The No Sweat Same Game Parlay. Sign up with promo code JOE102 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is now double free bets. Expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-8899-789.
Middle Tennessee football is back in action at home on Saturday, November 12th. The Blue Raiders will take on Charlotte in our 40th annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Forces football game. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. inside Floyd Stadium. Come early and join in on the festivities honoring our veterans. To purchase tickets or for more information, visit goblueraiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee, we are Blue Knighted.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I think last night was, in the big picture, misleading because Malik is not ready for prime time. Not that prime time against that team in that stadium, because down the stretch of the fourth quarter, I know it's been just battered into his brain. Don't throw it to them. Don't throw it to, if you don't have it, throw it away. But there comes a point in a game like that is teeter-totter. You got to cut it loose. Every once in a while, he just wouldn't cut it loose.
Even Skip Bayless gets it. That Malik Willis cost the Titans the game, regardless of whether or not it's Malik's fault or the Titans' fault for putting Malik in the situation, which I put, like you, way more blame on the Titans than I do on Malik, as far as who I'm more mad at. But I don't know if Malik's going to be able to make it in this league. Now, that being said, today's election day, right?
It is.
And so things that you may vote for might be different than things that I vote for. For instance, if they, candidate Johnny Joe says that if he gets elected, he is going to put in a tax on all sports radio hosts. And so if candidate Johnny Joe gets elected, we're screwed. Now, we'd be sitting there saying, vote for Bobby Bob because he's better than Johnny Joe, because can you believe this sports radio tax? And a lot of you all are probably like, I don't care about that. And so I understand that there are things that you all care about that I don't care about, or you care about and I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only person on the planet who is like, go get a better backup quarterback. Please go get a better backup quarterback.
I think a lot of people aren't doing that because a lot of the thought is, well, who are you going to go get that's better?
Oh, I mean,
who are you going to go get that's going to win you games?
I mean, again, there's a difference between win you games and make you one throw.
Yes, but aren't they all kind of under the same umbrella?
Well, I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that could have won that game on Sunday with the way the Titans defense played.
Yes, I would agree.
And the one that they had at quarterback, I mean, we're not the coaches, so we can kind of just say whatever. They lost the game because the quarterback couldn't throw. I mean, they lost the game because the quarterback doesn't know what he's doing and he can't throw. Now, that being said, I think you can win that game with Tim Boyle at quarterback. I think you can win that game with Matt Barkley at quarterback. I think you can win that game with Sean Mannion at quarterback. Like that, all those guys are all practice squad guys across the league, and they all know your system. Ben Kurt came in here for a workout before training camp, and I truly think with just a generic backup quarterback, the Titans could have won that game. Now,
Ben Kurt.
That's where they're stuck. Like, they're stuck on all practice squad guys now because the trade deadline's passed, and there's nobody out there who's any good who's not on a practice squad. But this is why, like, Blaine Gabbert, they win with on Sunday. They win that game with Blaine Gabbert at quarterback. And that's, I feel like I'm the only person who's, like, mortified of the idea of a playoff game with a team that honestly could, I mean,
I don't think that you are the only person that's concerned about the idea of playing a playoff game with Malik Willis.
I feel like I'm the only person who's saying anything about it. But let's go to the phones. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com.
Coy in Clarksville texts in and says, I don't think it's fair to put all the blame on Malik Willis. How about we blame these trash wide receivers and have no business starting? I guess. A.J. Brown was right. Literally no one is open. Offensive coordinator needs to be fired, and all these players that can't stay healthy, killing our salary cap, need to go. Wonder what would have happened if we had a true number one wide receiver who can actually catch.
Okay, a lot of thoughts right there. But as far as the offensive coordinator thing, Ian, can we please go back in to Jared's film room as far as the offensive coordinator is concerned? Can we please enter the film room? Because
you are now entering Jared's film room.
Because every time somebody says that, I want to know, what did the offensive coordinator not do? He said, AJ was right. No one's open. That's not true.
Yeah,
that was not true.
There were several receivers open, and that is on the receivers. That is on Chris Conley for not catching that ball.
That's one.
I'm not putting that blame on Malik.
That's the one where I thought the receiver screwed up. But everything else, Cody Hollister's wide open, and Malik doesn't know where the line of scrimmage is.
And I said this yesterday. I thought the second half play calling was pretty abysmal. And then we walked through it, and I was like, well, you know what? Actually, no. Because it felt like there was a massive vibe or momentum shift with the offense in the second half. So the easiest thing for me to pin that on is the offensive coordinator. But going play by play by play, I'm like, well, you know what? I don't know how many plays there really would have been that I would have called differently. Maybe a couple here. Maybe there's where they, elected to run with Dontrell Hilliard. Maybe I'd say, okay, we'll hand it off to Derrick Henry instead. But for the most part, I didn't think the play calling was egregious.
There was one play early in the game where Malik, and every throw that Malik made, like every confident throw Malik made was a predetermined throw out of the shotgun. And he throws the ball out of bounds over Robert Woods and past the white part of the sideline. So it was so uncatchable. And Woods is laying on the ground, and he just puts his fists up in anger, as he gets up. Now, I don't know what he was angry about. It looked like he was being held. I wonder if he thought, if Malik put it on him or in his direction, that he would have been able to catch it or would have gotten a call or something like that. But that's the second week in a row where we've seen a Titans wide receiver upset with the quarterback.
Get frustrated.
Westbrook-Akine was that way the week before. Mm-hmm. Conley's drop was legitimately on Conley. That was it. The only other receiver mistake that I thought was egregious, and I think you all are boo-hooing about, is not only did Cody Hollister block the guy in the back, but Cody Hollister finished the block in the back so bad that by the time it was done, the guy had turned around on him.
Yeah.
People are like, he didn't do anything. He didn't. Wrong.
There were some bad calls in the game, but I don't think that was one of them. Andrew checks in and says, you have bashed Tannehill since day one. Aren't you worried about his feelings? If Malik needs his feelings babied, I don't want him anyway. Am I worried about Ryan Tannehill's feelings?
No.
No, I'm not. Ryan Tannehill's been a starter for 10 years in this league.
I'm worried about why the hell Ryan Tannehill ain't playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with Ryan Tannehill.
Because the story keeps changing. About what's wrong with Tannehill and what the injury
ankle
is.
And the stomach bug.
And Malik says he found out on Saturday before the Texan game that he was going to play. And Tannehill said he was going to try to give it a go. And then Tannehill said it was the ankle and not the stomach. And then Tannehill went out to practice last week. And then Vrabel said that he made the decision, but the video shows Tannehill going to Vrabel and then walking into the tunnel. And so I don't know what the hell's going on there.
And if it was the ankle, wouldn't he have traveled to Houston? Probably.
I don't know what the hell's
And
going
if it was the stomach bug that left him out, then why was he out against Kansas City? I just want a little bit of clarity on the timeline because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
It literally makes no sense.
It's all the ankle. No stomach bug. All ankle.
Says?
That's just my guess.
I don't know what my guess is, right? Like, if it's a high ankle sprain, I talked to a physical therapist in town that works on NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what do you make of it? And he was like, if it's a high ankle sprain, he's out 4 weeks. He's like, there's not.
If it's a high ankle sprain, would you be able to go back out there and walk?
So he doesn't think this is what it is, but was just hypothesizing that Tannehill could have cracked his fibia or tibia. Yeah, cracked his tibia and not known that he cracked it. And then after, when they looked at the ankle, they find the cracked tibia in there. And that could be an issue that he's having too. Because if it was the high ankle sprain like Cedric Tillman had, then we'd be talking about the tightrope surgery and whether or not he's going to get it.
And it'd be on IR.
Right. So, I mean, that's my bigger concern than Tannehill's feeling. I give a rat's ass about Tannehill's feelings.
Yeah, clearly we don't really care about Tannehill's feelings.
We do not care about Tannehill's feelings. And I like Tannehill. I really, really do.
But if we're going to talk about Tannehill compared to Malik, I mean, that is apples to oranges in terms of how the coach needs to talk about the quarterback.
I don't know, man. Vrabel can't be this, like... Now, Vrabel does protect everybody. If you ask him, what do you think of Farley, he'll tell you. He's not going to tell you that he sucks. But
well, I hope he wouldn't.
I just, it's the way he talks about Dylan Radins and the way he covers for Malik Willis are two totally different things.
Well, that's because they don't believe in Dylan Radins anymore.
Apparently, it's the fibula, not the tibia.
Whatever.
615-737-1025. We're back to your phones on this. 615-737-1025 here on the Titans. And I still don't, this Vrabel thing, the Vrabel Tannehill, you guys got to help me out on this. Stillman and Company, what Vrabel said, Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a start in the 60s, we'll be in the middle 70s later on this afternoon. Clouds break up throughout the day and we'll stay in the middle 70s and partly cloudy for the rest of this week. Next rain chance doesn't come until Friday and a big cool down for the weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks is a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Looking for the next place to hold a business dinner or just a private room for you and your guests to enjoy? Then look no further than Bob's. We believe in top quality food and service without all the distractions. So join us and experience why we've been voted Diner's Choice on Open Table for 6 years running.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Hey, it's Big Joe on the go. Look, I get it. Nobody likes being in a car accident, but when that happens, make it easy on yourself and call Apple Collision Centers so you don't have to stress. They're locally owned with 3 convenient locations in Oak Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Apple Collision Centers managers combined for 60-plus years experience, and they only recommend original equipment parts on your vehicle. So, if you're in need of a repair today or down the road, just head over to Apple Collision Centers. Stan and his team will take great care of you. Online, applecollisioncenters.com.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ron has made some strides last week.
Yeah, he has. He worked extremely hard to try to get into a position to play in a football game. Go through this with all the injuries. Can they reasonably do their job up to the expectations that we have? Can they protect themselves out there? And can they make it worse? So I wasn't able to answer all of those questions, for him to be able to play in the game.
That was Vrabel yesterday. By the way.
You okay, Jim Wyatt?
Yeah, you want some water, Jimmy? He's a beast.
Got a little choked up there.
I mean, my goodness. So, you heard Vrabel right there say, Ryan gave it everything he could to go, and I just made the decision that he couldn't go. And keyword here is tone. Change of tone from Vrabel after the game Sunday. This was Vrabel's tone.
Ryan, that any realistic change coming in?
He was listed as questionable. Ryan didn't play in the game. There's so many guys, Paul, that bust their ass out there tonight that I would be more than happy to talk about. So if we could ask about the players that actually played in the game, that'd be a great place to start.
I mean, that sounded like, I don't want to talk about that guy. He didn't suit up. I want to talk about the guys who did suit up. And then yesterday was like, and if you watch the video, Vrabel's just eyes are down at the board the whole time. He's just like, I just decided that, Ryan wasn't going to go on Sunday. Just difference in tone. Just saying.
I don't know. And how much of that, because that Paul question was right after the game, right?
Right. But that's when you get the most truth out of Vrabel.
But how much of that is motivated by, I'm just pissed off and I'm so frustrated that the refs just totally screwed us over, that we were so close to winning a huge game with a backup quarterback in Arrowhead and we didn't, and I'm mad and I'm angry and anything you say is going to make me mad.
I think he was more sad than he was mad, or maybe proud. I'm proud of my guys, even though we gave them a quarterback who doesn't do anything right.
He sounded mad.
Oh, he sounded
proud. So if
of
we could talk about the guys who actually played, that'd be great.
Well, maybe he's mad at Tannehill. You know why?
Why?
Because Vrabel comes from the era where Steve McNair would have played.
Oh, are we done with this yet?
No. Chris is up next. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What you got, Chris?
It is a pleasure talking to you guys today. Normally I agree with Caroline on most things that she says, sweet Caroline, but I do have a problem with saying that OC's play calling wasn't egregious, and the fact that Derrick Henry only touches the ball 7 times in the second half. But my main thing is Rashad Weaver. If I'm in Jared's film room right now, I want to look at Rashad Weaver on the last drive. I see him burying his head in the offensive tackle's chest, pushing the pocket in, and everybody wants to say great. But when he did that, he lost contain, and Patrick Mahomes runs around him, runs 20 yards for a first down on 3rd and long. 2 plays later, he rushes hard upfield, gets around the corner, and everybody says, yeah, great, man, he pressured the quarterback. But he left this massive hole for Patrick Mahomes to run 15 yards for a touchdown. To me, the last drive, the game-tying drive, happened because Rashad Weaver did a noble effort in rushing hard, but he lost contain. He didn't do his job. I think we lose the game because of Rashad Weaver on the in the fourth quarter game-tying drive.
So let me say this. You're not wrong. Thank you, Chris. You're not wrong. I mean, I didn't even have to watch the film to tell you that Weaver played an incredibly undisciplined game of football. We talked about it after the Giants game. Remember, because we thought Weaver was going to be the replacement for Harold Landry. And after and he got 2 sacks in the Giants game. And after that, I was like, I don't think they want to put him in when they're running the football. I think they only want Weaver in there on like 3rd down and 13, where it is
he is a true pass rusher.
Go run the quarterback. Now it was 3rd and 17 and Mahomes ran around. Weaver totally screwed it up. In fact, it was so telling. Like, I didn't need the tape to see this. Weaver, the entire defensive line, really the entire defense as a whole, plays with such discipline. Like, that's why when they hit 3rd and 20 screen passes against the 49ers, I knew that wasn't going to happen against the Titans because everybody is where they're supposed to be, on defense. It's almost like the perfect foosball team where all the guys are connected to one another and they all move into the right spots when they're supposed to move. And so everybody for the whole game was doing what they were supposed to do. Tart was doing what he was supposed to do. Simmons, Autry, Dupree, DeMarcus Walker, Mario Edwards, who had a great game, Dylan Cole, David Long Jr., Andrew Adams, Kevin Byard, although Byard did get beat by Kelsey one time and Mahomes missed him, Roger McCreary, Christian Fulton. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And then Weaver comes into the game. And Weaver's just like the Tasmanian devil out there, and he's just running. And all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes goes out there and runs. And I thought it was very telling that, and I said this yesterday, that, the old saying that a band is only as strong as its weakest instrument. Mm-hmm. That was Weaver in the second half yesterday in the fourth quarter. And Vrabel was asked by Corey Curtis yesterday about Bud Dupree exiting the game. And Vrabel talked about all of the great work done to replace Bud Dupree by DeMarcus Walker, Mario Edwards, and Tier Tart. He didn't mention Weaver. So I truly think that everybody's on the same page with Weaver. The caller, me, Vrabel. I mean, he just is not disciplined. He jumped off sides early in the game. He's just not disciplined. And you cannot be, no matter how good you are, if you are not disciplined on the defensive line, you can't play for Mike Vrabel. You can play for some of these other teams that don't give a tail. That's just like, hey, go get them. Like I kind of feel like Dallas is that way. Dan Quinn's defense is kind of just everybody's got a little zone and everybody plays in it. But Micah, you go wherever you want to go, and everybody else, just go do what you want to do.
But Micah Parsons can do that.
He wouldn't do that here. They would not let him do that here. They don't let Simmons do that here. I mean, everything here is very disciplined, and Weaver is just incredibly undisciplined. And so the caller's right about that. The thing that bothers me, again, what all did you want Todd Downing to do differently? The caller's all mad about Todd Downing. Let's pick that up. 615-737-1025 here on the program. But we do have to get to this because Chris Collinsworth said it. I can't believe that Chris Collinsworth actually said it. And now I wonder if this is actually going to be like a thing about the Titans and how people feel about the Titans and how prospective free agents feel about the Titans and how trade players feel about the Titans. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knazvik here for Superbook Sports. And when it comes to sports, listen, everything is happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, a little postseason baseball, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager all in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, I said it, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it is time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
OrderGreen.com. You know them by now. They're my only choice for high-quality THC and CBD products, and they're delivered right to my doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. Yes, you heard that right. OrderGreen.com will send cannabis products right to you with discreet same-day shipping. OrderGreen.com has been great for me. Just what I need during this busy time of year. Takes the edge off physically, mentally. Terrific products. And if you use promo code Joe20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com. Do you have a subscription to OrderGreen.com? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. You won't be able to tell if you're in Colorado or Tennessee. Trust me. That's OrderGreen.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury. He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. You know, we live in this really weird society where sometimes a lot of people don't know what's true and what's not. And usually, crazy. And a lot of times people believe what they want to believe, which is also crazy. Now, sometimes it depends on who's spreading whatever conspiracy theory it may be. And we talked about this last week when it came to Tony Romo on the CBS broadcast saying that Josh Heupel is going to be on the radar of every NFL team looking to hire a head coach. Which, by the way, you think it's crazy that NFL teams would want to go after Josh Heupel after yesterday?
No.
I mean, if Jeff Saturday is going to be a coach, I mean, when's Jared Stillman going to be up for head coach? That's the real question. But
they love him there.
I digress.
That makes a great head coach.
That is a college football thing for a bad college. It's like he was a great quarterback here at Rutgers, so we need to make him the. Anyway, I digress.
Hey, don't bring up a Rutgers head coach.
True. So, Chris Collinsworth, very much in the know. Just like Herb Street is for college football, just like Romo is for NFL football. People listen to Chris Collinsworth. He is the number one analyst on the most watched television program in America. I don't know how many people watched the game on Sunday. I'm going to guess somewhere probably around 25 million people watched the game on Sunday. The average last year was 18.9. The high-end games like the Cowboys blowing out the Eagles a couple weeks ago was like 21 million. This game went to overtime. So I'm going to guess that it was somewhere around 25 million people watched this game. And this came up during the NBC broadcast, and I am telling you, I believe this has massive ramifications for the Titans. This was Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth.
No receptions. There have been a couple of targets for Tennessee receivers tonight, but in general, this is a group that has the fewest receptions, yards, and touchdowns in the NFL, the wide receiving corps. A.J. Brown used to be here, and single-handedly, he's got more production for the most part than the Tennessee wide receivers. It was an odd, surprising trade to many that happened on draft night.
Because he was so significant to this offense, catching balls off of play action when so many people were out there trying to attack Derrick Henry. But maybe this is a team that knows who they are, and they just don't want to spend money on wide receivers.
Wow.
Whoa.
I heard that, and I was like, we're going to be talking about this.
Whoa.
And then this morning I texted Chase, and I was like, did you hear the Chris Collinsworth comments on Sunday Night Football? Because I think Derek is going to have some thoughts on this.
And Derek has had some thoughts on this.
Derek had some thoughts.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't think the reason why A.J. Brown is not here is because the Titans were too cheap. And I don't think the reason why A.J. Brown is not here is because the Titans didn't want to pay A.J. Brown. And I don't think that the reason why A.J. Brown is not here is because the Titans don't value the wide receiver position.
That's the worst part of it all.
Well, that's what Collinsworth is saying, right?
That they know who they are, meaning that they are a run-first team, so why pay a wide receiver?
Why pay a wide receiver?
Because it's a passing league.
So I'm a little torn on a lot of different fronts.
Okay.
Here's the first thing. Number one, I don't think any of that's true. I think this is what I think happened. I think that the tension became too much between the two sides and that the Titans bought into it. And at the end of the day, they relied on the Patriot way, and the Patriot way is to trade Deion Branch. The Patriot way is to get rid of Randy Moss. It is to say no more Richard Seymour when he wants a contract. Cut Lawyer Malloy. That's what I believe the Titans decided to do because that's how they were raised, Robinson and Vrabel, and they decided to trade A.J. Brown because A.J. was acting like too much of a crybaby about his contract. That's ultimately what I believe happened. And the Titans will never come out and say that because it'll launch A.J. into, A.J. will have 500 yards when they play if they end up saying something like that. We all know it. So they're not going to say that. And I understand why they're not going to say that, but that's what I believe. But when Chris Collinsworth says this, now you don't think other people around the league were watching that game on Sunday night and heard Chris Collinsworth say, maybe they just don't value wide receiver because clearly they're a run-first team. So, they're good with Chris Conley and Cody Hollister. And maybe that's just the way they think. And I think that has serious ramifications for the Titans because the next time you want to go get a receiver, that receiver who in the past would have said, I'd love to go to Tennessee like Julio Jones did a couple years ago. The next wide receiver is going to be like,
I'm not going
there. No, I'm not going there. Those cheap, they don't pay wide receivers. If I played running back, I'd go there. But those cheap asses, they don't pay wide receivers. And it's all how this narrative begins about they're too cheap and they don't value receiver and they don't all these things. And so I think there are serious ramifications. Now, here's where I'm torn on the importance of wide receiver. I mean, they are 5-3, and they lost one game because they missed a field goal, and they lost another game because they didn't have a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So as much as we can say, A.J. Brown is the man, and in Philadelphia right now, I don't watch any of their games, but apparently in Philadelphia, he is the man. Apparently he's the man. But the Titans are 5-3 without A.J. Brown. So maybe A.J. Brown, maybe to Chris Collinsworth's point, maybe they don't need to invest in a wide receiver that much because they're winning the same amount of games that I think we would assume that they would probably win. Maybe they'd win one or two more games, and be 7-1 without A.J. Brown. But I guess I'm torn. I don't believe that the reason why the Titans traded AJ was because they were too cheap, and I don't believe that the reason why they traded AJ was because they didn't value him or that position.
No. I mean, TD reported that they were willing to give him 22.
No, he said he would take 22.
That AJ would take 22.
TD said, this is how the game of telephone worked here. TD reported that AJ told him that the Titans were offering him $16 million with escalators, incentives that would get it to $20 million.
Uh-huh.
And AJ didn't like that. TD's sources told TD that the Titans' offer was legitimately $20 million. Like, that's what the TD reported on that. AJ told TD he would have taken 22.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know this. AJ was telling people that he was signing a 4-year, $80 million contract. I know that for a fact. That AJ was telling people that. And that was before Chris Godwin signed his contract that was when Chris Godwin signed his contract and Mike Williams signed his contracts.
Mm-hmm.
But before Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill signed their contracts. And once they signed their contracts, that's when we heard about Deebo Samuel saying, no, I want to trade. I want all the money, everything else. I want to be paid like both a running back and a wide receiver. And so that's when all that started. So, I mean, again, I don't think that's why the Titans did it. But I do wonder, A, is Collinsworth right that the Titans don't need a high-end receiver? And B, I mean, are people around the league going to start looking at the Titans if they're wide receivers? Let's use DJ Moore, for instance. Mm-hmm. DJ Moore, Titans offer a trade to Carolina. DJ Moore goes to Carolina and says, I don't want to be here anymore. Carolina starts fielding offers. Titans call. They go up to DJ Moore and say, would you want to go to Tennessee? And DJ Moore saw that. I could see DJ Moore being like, no,
they don't pay wide receivers.
I don't want to go.
But to your point, do the Titans really need a wide receiver when they're 5-3 without one? Well, there's going to come a day when this division doesn't suck. There is going to come a day when the league as a whole doesn't suck. And the Titans are going to need to throw the football more when Ryan Tannehill is going to have to throw for more than 150 yards. And you need a solid, good wide receiver to be able to do that. And they don't have that right now. Mm-hmm. So while they're getting by this year, that's not going to be a long-term trend. And to your point, I don't think it's accurate that the Titans aren't willing or won't pay a wide receiver because I think they had every intention to pay A.J. Brown. But if you're on the outside looking in, whether that's a player on another team, whether that's a fan of another team, whether that's a broadcaster that doesn't follow the Titans very closely, what else are you supposed to take away from that? And I do have to say that if A.J. Brown wasn't balling out this year, I don't think this whole notion of the Titans don't want to pay wide receivers would be a thing. Because it would be like, all right, well, the Titans just cut ties with wide receiver that was like fine, but wasn't worth $22 million. Mm-hmm. But A.J. Brown is balling out. So it makes the Titans look so much worse that they weren't willing to pay an elite wide receiver what he was worth.
Oh, sure. But nobody talked about Minnesota like that when they traded Stephon Diggs to Buffalo.
Because Justin Jefferson worked out. That's what the Titans were trying to do with Treylon Burks. They thought that they were pulling a trade of Stephon Diggs and draft a Justin Jefferson moment, and that worked because Justin Jefferson was Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's really good. And Treylon Burks, on the other hand, is on IR. So the Titans, I saw what the Titans were trying to do. It just didn't work out.
By the way, Treylon Burks went on Instagram Live last night. I watched. Apparently, he's got two, I don't know what kind of dogs these are. They're like the big kinds that kill people or bite people up, like Rottweilers or.
Like a Doberman?
Dude, I don't know.
Okay. Not a pug.
I can tell you about pugs. But he was showing off his dogs or whatever, and he was talking to some guy on Instagram Live, and I was literally just watching it, because I'm maybe he'll say if he's going to play this week or not.
There's a little tea that I can get out of this.
I honestly did not understand what this conversation that had. I didn't understand a single thing about it.
I always think it's so funny when people go Instagram Live just to, it's like you're on FaceTime with a friend.
But you never know because it might be like Deebo Samuel's mom.
That is true.
Going, Facebook Live, Instagram Live?
Instagram Live.
Going Instagram Live, and then Deebo's telling her the tea about the negotiations between the Titans and AJ, so you never know, so I had to watch.
Hey, AJ Brown.
But, what do we think about Collinsworth's words? What do we think about it? The reputation of the Titans. Chris Collinsworth sitting there with Mike Tirico yeah, Mike, I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they maybe they just don't value wide receiver. And what does that mean going forward? And is it true? And is it accurate? And guess what? The A.J. Brown conversation, it's not slowing down. It's heating up about why, even though it's election day and I voted for that referendum. 615-737-1025. Apparently, Derek went off today about what Chris Collinsworth had to say. Now, Derek won't say it specifically, but he thinks the Titans are cheap because they cut him. And I kept telling Derek, just say it on the pregame show on Sunday. Just say it. So apparently Derek went off about the Titans in the receiver position. So we'll get to that in your phones next. 615-737-1025. Caroline wants to tell us with the Caesar Sportsbook app.
Yes, I do. It's time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report. Now, before we get into the fun stuff, the odds, remember that your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL, one word, RADIOFULL, and then wager. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, you'll get that stake back as a free bet. And it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Tuesday Maction. So Caesar Sportsbook has got you covered at plus 950 odds in this parlay odds boost. Eastern Michigan, Ohio, and Ball State all win tonight. I know that's the game that you all have been circling on your calendars. So if you think those three get a win, you can place some money onto the Caesar Sportsbook app, or you can make your own parlay. Just do it with the Caesar Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams. At Bridgestone Arena, Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
But this Titan team, they haven't, and I would be surprised if they ever do pay a wide receiver that much money to keep him. Because they arguably, had he stayed here, he would have been the best wide receiver this franchise has ever had. And I'm including the Houston Oilers.
I I agree with you.
Had he stayed here for his whole career, see if his career was 12, 13 years, he would have been the best receiver this organization has ever had. And you let him go. Why? Because you didn't think he was worth the money that he was asking for. And now you are seeing the consequences of not paying him. And they haven't learned. It's been this way for the last 20 years. When you don't pay a guy that you have that can flat out ball, you don't pay him, he goes somewhere else and ball, and now you're looking and everybody's wondering, where are we going to find the next receiver? And then when you do get the next receiver, you let him get out the building.
Derek didn't hold back today on the A.J. Brown trade.
Feels a little personal.
Now, let me say this. I supported the referendum at the time when it happened. I say this every time we talk about A.J. Brown. This has blown up in the Titans' face.
Oh, absolutely it has. Because I was in favor of the trade for several reasons. One of them being I never would have expected A.J. Brown to be playing like this. Because it was always, A.J. Brown drops balls, A.J. Brown's always injured. And I thought, okay, well, good luck in Philadelphia.
Oh, he dropped the ball on Thursday. He dropped the ball last Thursday. He still drops it. Now, he hasn't been hurt. And Derek put that on the Titans, which I'll be honest. Every freaking year it feels like we're talking about the Titans got all these guys injured and somehow, some way they find a way. Well, how about not having all these guys get injured?
Every year it's the Titans have used more different players than any other team in the league.
How do the Titans do it? They've got 47 guys on IR and every other team does. At some point, can we investigate why the Titans who play on a grass field have all these injuries? And nobody else apparently does. Can we have that discussion too? Because AJ's fine.
Injuries, but it's just always the Titans.
I think it was Kaharski did something like a couple weeks ago where the Titans had like 13 guys on IR. The Texans had like 4. The Jags had 6. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Now, that being said, if AJ Brown was on the team, I think the Titans right now would probably be 7-1 as opposed to 5-3 because I think they would have won the Giants game with AJ Brown. Now, the Chiefs game, debatable because they didn't have a quarterback. But the fact that the Eagles are 8-0 with A.J. Brown, how many teams right now definitively are better than the Titans? Like where it's not, I think the Dolphins are better than the Titans, but like legitimately, definitively are better than the Titans.
The Bills.
But are they? Because if Josh Allen has Tommy John surgery, I'm not convinced that they are.
Well, if he doesn't, then the Bills are better than the Titans.
Pat McAfee said today that when he hears that we're getting more tests done, what that means run it again, boys. Let's hope we see something different.
Let's hope for the best.
So it sounds like they're in some deep
There's something wrong with the machine, not with his elbow.
It sounds like they're in some deep doo-doo with Josh Allen. So I'm not putting, when I say definitively, I mean, we don't know. Now, Josh Allen might play Sunday and the Bills might be fine and go win the Super Bowl. But right now, I mean, we're talking about a potential Tommy John surgery for the starting quarterback.
That's huge.
So I'm not putting them there. I'm not putting the Chiefs there after what we saw on Sunday.
Even though the Chiefs won?
Yeah. The Titans had the worst quarterback play I have seen from this organization. This may not be a fair statement to make because I watched the tape on Malik and I know a billion times more about football now than I do then, and I didn't really cover the team then. Malik might be worse as a rookie quarterback than Zach Mettenberger was. And that's saying something because Zach Mettenberger was horrendous. Just saying. So, yes, I think they would have been. I think the Titans, I pick the Titans to beat the Chiefs. I think the Titans are a bad matchup for the Chiefs. And I think all those things were proven right.
But if we're going to use that argument with Josh Allen, then don't we also have to apply that with Ryan Tannehill?
No, because Tannehill's not done for the year.
What's going on with him then?
I mean, true, but I mean, we're talking.
I know. But as long
when
as
I saw him grab the elbow in the Jets game,
and that video was
when he grabbed it, I was like, that's a pitcher grabbing his elbow.
Yeah.
And when a pitcher grabs his elbow, they're in trouble.
That's a TJ.
They're in
incoming.
trouble.
But I mean, as long as Tannehill is out, then no, I cannot say definitively that the Chiefs aren't better or are better.
No, you're saying that the Chiefs are definitively better.
I think that's what I'm saying.
So I don't believe that. I mean, again,
as long as Tannehill is out.
Even with Tannehill not in there, the Titans really, were right there with Kansas City. Even without Tannehill. No. I'm talking about definitively better if they had to play a playoff game. As in, if they had to play a playoff game tomorrow. And I am talking about with Tannehill in there because, again, we've been led to believe that Tannehill could have played on Sunday. So
I don't know what to believe.
Who knows about that? But I continue with this. Is Dallas definitively better than the Titans?
I don't know. I lean yes.
Is Minnesota definitively better than the Titans?
No.
No.
Dallas, maybe. Minnesota, no.
The Titans would just eat Kirk Cousins alive with that defensive line.
Are the Eagles definitively better than the Titans? I would say probably so.
I'd say probably yes. Yeah.
And so that takes me to this question. If A.J. Brown is on the Titans, how many teams in the league are definitively better than the Titans? Because the Eagles ain't.
Not the Eagles. Not the Eagles.
So we know Kansas City's not definitively better than the Titans because when they had A.J.
With A.J. and if Ryan Tannehill's healthy.
They killed him last year.
Yeah.
And it would have been the same game. Like, the Titans are a bad matchup for that Kansas City team. And again, Josh Allen's a giant question mark right now in Buffalo because he might have, when I hear, UCL and it's coming from Chris Mortensen, I mean, that is legit.
And your throwing arm.
Yeah, that is legit. So you see what, like, the A.J. Brown trade, it looks worse every single week. When the trade got made, we thought Denver was going to be good. They suck. When the trade got made, we thought Green Bay was going to be good. They're awful. When the trade got made, we thought Tampa Bay was going to go right back to the divisional round of the playoffs like they always do with Tom Brady at quarterback, and they're not very good. The Rams are awful. The Bengals are inconsistent. I mean, in all seriousness, other than the Eagles, every other team has played to expectations, but not above expectations. And you were right there last year. And then you trade AJ, and you're still right there, even though you don't have AJ anymore. But the only team playing above expectations
aren't right there
are the Eagles. They're the only team in the league, and I guess Minnesota. Those are the only two teams in the league that are legitimately playing above expectations. And I still think the Titans would beat the Vikings.
Seattle, too, probably. They're above expectations. But
that is fair.
But they're still not great. They're just above expectations.
Hey, Geno's balling. Like, if the Pro Bowl were today, Geno's making it.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Probably so.
Really?
Give me 3 quarterbacks in the NFC. Jalen Hurts. Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Cousins is having a great year. They've won every game.
Brady, maybe. Just
Brady.
name recognition.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
Dak's been hurt.
Yeah.
Geno Smith.
All right. Well, hats off to Geno.
615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and says the Titans are cheap as stuff. Always have been and always will be. Their problem is they will spend to go 500, but the second they get above 500, that's enough, and the faucet turns off.
So I don't believe that, though.
But also, look at the history of the Titans and how many fifth-year options they have not picked up.
But that's because those guys suck.
But it's not a good look.
Like, the fifth-year option is actually something you want to pick up because, that's cheaper than giving somebody a new contract. Like Simmons, $10 million. He's already said he's not playing on that.
No, I wouldn't expect him to.
So,
But trading A.J. Brown, who is now at the epicenter of NFL fans' focal point.
And Jack Conklin's an all-pro right tackle.
Yeah.
I don't think the Titans are a cheap organization.
I don't think that they are, but I go back to if you're on the outside looking in and you just have the facts in front of you of the Titans have traded these players and have not exercised the fifth-year option on these players, you'd say, why the heck not?
Plus, there's nothing that is, ostentatious about the Titans. So, nobody will say that the Rams are cheap or that the Cowboys are cheap.
Well, because they're not.
Their stadiums and the way that their owners act and everything else is we'll spend whatever it takes in order to do whatever
and
it
the
wants.
Rams just gave 2 massive extensions to Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. So you cannot say that the Rams are cheap because they're not.
But the Titans gave Derrick Henry an extension that they said at the time was out of the good of their heart.
$1 million raise.
I forget what it was with Derrick Henry.
It was something rinky-dinky.
It was ridiculous. It was just fronting him a bunch of money. I mean, who are they paying at the top of the market for the Titans? Dupree, Landry,
Derrick
Henry,
Byard,
Bayard.
Amani Hooker, would you say top?
I mean, he's not top of the market because the top's now that Derwin James 17, but he's $11 million.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not nothing.
I don't think the Titans are cheap. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. Plus, speaking of wide receiver, Mike Vrabel, who never says anything about any injured player, decided to go out of his way to pump up somebody. Why? We'll get to that coming up. Hey, FanDuel Sportsbook's my official sportsbook app. Now is the perfect time to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM and you can go bet the Eagles, who again, apparently them and the Vikings seem to win every game. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets at a chance for a bigger payout with the same game parlay. With live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started, so get paid your winnings quickly. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat bet. That's promo code JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I will take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchesne. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the latest power tool in roofing. Searching, ordering, tracking. Plus the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code Joe20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Window for Tregland this week? Or?
We'll see. We'll see how he's feeling. He has worked extremely hard, and to stay in shape and condition, take care of his body, lift, mentally. I think this is just the best that he's been from a standpoint of handling a distraction, which is something different and sometimes new for young players. So I will say that whenever he's ready, I'm excited for him to get back out there, and we'll see where that is this week, because he's been in here, he's been on time, he's done everything that we've asked him to do. worked hard, and we'll just have to see where he's at physically.
Pull your pants up, Mike. I mean, talk about out of character. Isn't every time you ask about somebody who's injured with Mike Vrabel, just correct me if I'm wrong here, is it not, Coach, what do you think about the chances of Molden being able to play this week? Well, we've got the IR window open, and so, we'll see who practices on Wednesday. Period. End. No more talk. That's it.
What did he just say when he was asked about Ryan Tannehill? I want to talk about the guys who are on the field.
Yeah, that's how he talked about after the game Sunday. So here it is. Is there a window that Treylon Burks could return to practice? Yeah, we'll see. And then, but I just want everybody out there to know how hard Treylon Burks has worked. And I want you to know how on time he's been and how mentally engaged he's been and how hard he's worked to stay in shape. And this is the guy that it was a state secret to find out this summer whether or not he had asthma. It was like, I don't know where you got that from. I'm not saying I'm not anything. La, 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 la. I don't want to talk about Treylon. And here he is now sitting there being like, oh, Treylon, this, Treylon, that, Treylon. And guess what? Not one person in town. Now, in June, we might care about, is Treylon Burks working hard? Not one person cares about that now. All we care about is he going to play Sunday and is he going to catch a ball, which would be an upgrade from what we've seen at the wide receiver right now. But what do we make of Vrabel actually, doing the 180 from Mike Vrabel when talking about Burks? And do we think it's because everybody and their grandma is talking about how you got nothing in return for A.J. Brown and how A.J. Brown's out there in Philadelphia dominating, and here you are trying to be like, no, we got something. He's working hard.
Well, Mike Vrabel defended two players after the game in Kansas City. Treylon Burks and Malik Willis.
Okay.
So I think that has something in common, is that the Mike Vrabel wants to protect the rookies that have been under fire ever since they gotten drafted.
But he doesn't protect Radens.
Because Radens is a lost cause. Because they still believe that they could get something out of Treylon Burks and Malik Willis. And also, what did they get in return for the AJ trade?
Treylon Burks and Malik Willis.
Right. So I don't know if it's a rookie thing where Mike Vrabel feels like he has to defend the rookies that have just been under fire. I mean, consistently ever since they've gotten drafted. Is it we have to defend our AJ trade because these are the two players that we got in return for him, so I've got to pump them up a little bit? And I don't know the answer to that. But I don't think it's a coincidence that the two players that Mike Vrabel defends uncharacteristically are two rookies and the two players that you got in return for the AJ trade.
Well, he doesn't go out of his way to defend Nicholas Petit. Is it
Frere?
No, because Sunday Night Football, it was like Nicholas Petit Free, or it was something I was like, we've all been saying it wrong.
I think it's Nicholas Petit
I think
Frere.
they were saying it wrong.
Yeah.
No. On the Sunday night, where it's like Jared Stillman, quarterback.
Gotcha.
Louisville.
His introduction thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like Nicholas Petit Frere, the Ohio State University.
Really?
I
thought that he was the one that came out and said Frere like air.
When I heard him say it, I was like, we've all been saying it wrong.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
The Ohio State University.
But the broadcast team usually does pronounce names wrong.
Yeah, but there's no way that he's going to pronounce his name wrong.
No, I understand that.
So, but he's not out there defending Roger McCreary. He's not out there defending PT.
Well, that's because Roger McCreary hasn't been under
fire. That's
fire.
because they're good. But the other thing is, he really is not going out of his way anymore to defend Caleb Farley.
Because I think that they have given up on
Caleb they've given up on Caleb Farley. And he's not, they ask about Radens after the Washington game. The Titans are 3-0 in games Dylan Radens starts. Now, he still stinks. But
it has nothing to do with Dylan Radens.
But they asked him about it after the Washington game, and that'd be very easy for Vrabel to be like, Dylan's really been working hard, and we're really glad to see him progressing, and so we're going to – and instead, he was asked about him, he was like, not good enough. Vrabel doesn't hear what Treylon Burks is like. I want you to know that Treylon Burks has been on time. When he said that, I rolled my eyes so hard. I don't care if a guy's on time. I only care if the guy's not on time. You talk about being on time.
Same thing with that Zach Kiefer article. Matt Ryan has been in the gym at 6 a.m. Good. That's his job. Treylon Burks is on time. Good. That's his job.
The assistant GM was shocked to see Matt Ryan at 6 a.m. working out. I'm like, What I mean,
he's a professional athlete.
What are we talking about? Jason's up next here on A.J. Brown. Thank you for calling the show. What you got, Jason?
Hey, when A.J. made the comment about Mariota being a good leader after Tannehill took his place, I think that's got more to do with some of that, the relationship between Tannehill and him. Seemed like that was a comment he should have just kept to himself.
You know what's crazy about that? Thank you for the call, Jason. I have heard so many people reference the A.J. Brown tweet where he said that Marcus Mariota was the best leader he had ever been around. Mm-hmm. And remember, because Derek said to me at the gym, like, hey, I think that this means that that AJ doesn't want to be here anymore. And then Derek went on the air and started saying that, and then we blew it up, and then Derek said even more, and then AJ got mad, and he went to Twitter.
Mr. Mason.
And I think what's crazy about that is I've heard more people talk about that over the last 3 weeks than I think I heard talk about it, except for the one day that Derek talked about it during the summer. Outside of that, it has been all like, it comes up like once a week now. And what's crazy is every time I say something where somebody says something and it's like, why did they say this? Everybody gets mad at me. It's like, oh, you read so much into one tweet and you do 3 hours on that and you are a shock jock and you guys don't And here it is now, like 8 months later. And it's like, was that tweet the moment? Was that the straw that broke the camel's back between A.J. Brown and the Titans?
And I don't think it was.
No, but it's like it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
It's wild. What else we got?
One texter texts in and says, the Eagles' schedule hasn't been that tough this year. I think the Titans are better than the Eagles.
I still think the Titans can win that game. I do. Here's what's crazy. This is where I feel like Vrabel owes me for having to watch Malik Willis play because Malik cost them the game on Sunday. And here's where I feel like Vrabel owes me is right now I went and looked it up today. We did this yesterday, but I think it's worth repeating. Right now they play 2 games against Jacksonville. They play the Texans once. That's 3. They play the Broncos this week. That's 4. They're terrible. They play the Packers 5. Green Bay's awful. They play that's 5. They have 5 wins now. That's 10. Then they got 4 games left. Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Chargers. And we assume they're going to take 2 of those and lose 2 of those, and then they'll end up 12-5, the same as last year. Well, I went and did that with Kansas City's schedule today, and Kansas City's schedule is a lot like the Rams. So, yeah, I mean, going into the season, the Chiefs and the Rams looks like a good game, but just like the Packers for the Titans, the Rams suck, so that's a win for Kansas City. And then it's the Broncos and the Raiders and, all these teams that are awful. And I think I counted, like, the gimmies to take Kansas City to 12. Well, if Kansas City gets to 12 and you get to 12, that game is now an Arrowhead, which I don't want. So I feel like Vrabel owes us either the Philadelphia, Dallas, Cincinnati, whichever. Like he owes us 3 instead of 2 of those 4 games between the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Chargers, and the Eagles.
And I think that's doable. But it's really freaking difficult.
I really think that I think they're going to do it.
Difficult.
I think they're going to beat the Bengals. Game's here. Titans defensive line is going to dominate the Bengals offensive line. I think they're going to beat the Chargers because I think the Chargers are a secret bad team. Like they win some of these games, but they're at the wire of every game. And when they play a good team, they don't beat them. And when they play a bad team, they just barely beat them. Then again, the Titans. But I do think that they're going to beat the Chargers on coaching alone. And I think they're going to beat the Cowboys.
Assuming Tannehill's going to play.
I mean, if Tannehill's not playing around Christmas time when they play the Cowboys, we got much bigger problems.
Yes, we do.
Much bigger problems. What's next?
Josh texts in and says, is it time to wonder if John Robinson should be the GM of this team anymore? You remember Vrabel's reaction when the AJ trade went down.
I mean, they're about to win their 3rd straight division title. Speaking of that, I do want to get to what was a bananas day for the Colts. But it was an even more bananas press conference for Jim Irsay and Jeff Saturday. We got to hit on this. We'll do that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After a start in the 60s, we'll be in the middle 70s later on this afternoon. Clouds break up throughout the day and we'll stay in the middle 70s and partly cloudy for the rest of this week. Next rain chance doesn't come until Friday and a big cool down for the weekend.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks Man Cards are the perfect gifts for the sports fans on your list. Swing by Twin Peaks to purchase your gift cards today and get a little something in return. Offer available at participating restaurants.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
If you own a house, you've got a huge asset, and everyone's looking at it. With Wall Street investors buying up homes in Nashville and renting them out like never before, you have to wonder, what do they see in your big asset that you don't? If you sell your home instead of renting it, you can kiss your asset goodbye. The best way to save your asset is to rent it out. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
If you are drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and will free you from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardships consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and can't afford to pay them back, or you even have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to live in fear. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline. Do not take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even go after your Social Security check.
Call Community Tax today, 800-524-9341. To end your tax troubles, call now, 800-524-9341. Get a free consultation. Call 800-524-9341. That's 800-524-9341.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I know who we are. I know who we're going, where we're going, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be here tonight. Yes, it's an interim head coaching job. It lines up with the Rooney Rule. At the end of the season, there will be a full process of reviewing permanent head coach, which we will have an interview process for and go from there. This is for 8 games, hopefully more. I don't have, the expectations. All I'm thinking about is the Raiders. That's all these guys have been working towards and Jeff's been working towards, is getting ready for the Raiders.
There you go. That was Jim Irsay as unhinged as it could get. Now, that's not the most unhinged part right there, that cut. We're just focused on the Raiders, and hopefully the third-string quarterback I'm making them play will win us the game against the Raiders with our new guy who was on TV last week, who's now coaching the team. But watching the press conference, we can only play you the audio. The actual press conference was freaking bananas last night.
It was almost like borderline, scary.
So when Jeff Saturday was talking, Jim Irsay, I kept an eye on him. Jim Irsay, was listening intently and, was shaking his head yes. It looked like he was hearing this stuff from Jeff Saturday for the first time when Jeff Saturday was talking. And Chris Ballard, the general manager who was up there, he was just the whole time just basically it looked like a Southwest Airlines commercial with Chris Ballard. He looked so uncomfortable. So I just going to give you a couple of the highlights here that I just freaking loved. The first was every week somebody new gets fired from the Colts. So first it was Matt Ryan. I love the fact that we talked about how if the Titans beat the Colts, is that going to break Jim Irsay? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
So they lose to the Titans and they fire the quarterback. Then the next week they lose, they fire the offensive coordinator. Now they lose, they fire the coach a week after the owner said that he wasn't thinking about firing the coach, which who knows. Then they hire this guy off of TV to come in here and coach who's got no experience, and no high school football does not count as experience. I'm sorry. It doesn't count. So he's got no experience, and they hire him. And so, we'd have to assume that Chris Ballard's on the chopping block, right?
That would be the next in command.
So this is what Jim Irsay said about that yesterday. It's one of my favorite cuts.
Chris was highly sought after when he came here. It was a great indication of this organization that he wanted to come here because he could have gone anywhere he wanted. He's been executive the year before, and you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. The guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. No one's perfect in this game. We all lose a lot in this league. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? You know how many games Michael Jordan's lost? That's in this league, it's tough.
That is going to be my new go-to now.
Did he just call the Colts Michael Jordan?
No, he called
Chris Ballard
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And the idea that there's Ballard who's sitting up there, his coach just got fired. 2 years in a row, his quarterbacks haven't panned out. Everybody knows that he had nothing to do with this hiring of Jeff Saturday. Everybody knows that Ballard had nothing to do with Sam Ehlinger being the quarterback. Ballard actually had to defend it with I think when we talked about it on Sunday night, Mr. Irsay and I got together and we decided this was the path we thought we were going to go through those conversations, and we really had the hard conversations, and we really, and it's dude, we know you had nothing to do with this. We know the old kook locked the door and said, I'm firing the other guy and I'm hiring Jeff Saturday. And you said, what? And he said, yeah, I'm firing him. I can't watch this crap anymore. Oh, we used to have Peyton Manning and we won all these games, and now we got him, and so we got to go this way. And Chris Ballard's like, if that's what you want to do, Mr. Irsay, I'll tell you that's what we're going to do. And that's exactly what happened. And it was very uncomfortable. Then Jeff Saturday. Now, Jeff Saturday, he's been on TV. Jeff Saturday's good on TV. Jeff Saturday, was a team captain and all. So Jeff Saturday hit all the right notes for the most part during the introductory press conference. He was funny a little bit. He, talked about leadership. But then he said this, and when he said this, he totally lost me yesterday.
I felt very prepared. I tell you, when Peyton retired from Denver, I spent some time with John Lynch, and I remember John, he was going to move over into the general manager, and he told me that for 5 or 6 years he had been going through this practice of, if I were to put a team together, what would I do? And so I thought about it from the coaching perspective. So every year I've done a sheet of who I think the best OCs are, who the best DCs, who would be great consultants, who are people you'd want in your building. And so I've done those exercises.
So his experience is writing down his notes and thinking, hey, this is a good offensive coordinator. mean, like, in what world does that qualify you for a job? Like, I actually write down policies that I would like to be enacted into Congress. So I think that I should be the next president of the United States.
Like, I heard that, and I'm like, so you sat there and you were like, Nathaniel Hackett, good offensive coordinator, bad offensive coordinator, Like, we could do that ourselves. Like, all right, who are some coordinators we like? Kellen Moore, he'd be a good coordinator. He'd be a good coordinator. Can we get Kellen Moore on our fictitious team?
I'm going to write him down on my notes, and then our fake team is going to be successful.
Put him as a maybe?
They're going to win the fake Super Bowl.
Put him as a maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll pencil him in. He's done the exercises.
Did anybody and I know the answer is no. Why did nobody ask him who on his fake things that he put down?
And
Zachy,
also,
did you see Zach Kiefer? Old Zachy sitting front and center at this press conference. Zachy, why didn't you ask who Jeff Saturday put
on your
his
fantasy football
fake
team?
This reminds
Who's your
me,
coaching staff?
Oh, God, this reminds me when I was in 7th grade. And they had franchise mode in Madden football, and it allowed you to fire your coach. And, like, you could go out, you could hire, like, Monty Kiffin, who's Lane Kiffin's dad.
Yeah.
He was the defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl. So this was the year after the Bucs won the Super Bowl. So he was, like, the best coach that you could hire if you wanted a defensive guy. But Al Saunders, the offensive coordinator of the Raiders, who went to the Super Bowl and had a great offense, he was the best offensive guy you could hire. And there were, like, all these assistant coaches you could hire. And I remember being like, man, Jim Washburn's like 52. He must not be very good. But I mean, that's what this is. And that's it. I mean, that guy is now I got to tell you, I got sad yesterday when
you thought
the
they would
Colts
hire somebody competent?
Because, look, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Uh-huh.
And so I got sad thinking that the Indianapolis Colts might get their heads out of their rear ends for 5 seconds and might go out there and fire the GM and fire the coach and end up with a good GM and a good coach. And even though they're a bad organization, draft some good players and end up with another Peyton Manning somehow pulling a rabbit out of their rear end because that's what they do. And then we'd have to deal with the Colts being good again. Just like I was worried when the Jags hired Doug Peterson that he might actually be a good coach and he might make Trevor Lawrence a good quarterback. But now I don't feel so bad anymore. Now I feel good watching that press conference. Well, Jeff Saturday told... Oh, there was another Irsay doozy. I can make fun of Irsay,
There's
right?
so many Irsay doozies.
I make fun of Irsay, right? Like, if I do an Irsay voice, there's not going to be anybody that's offended by it.
I'm not offended.
Ian, do you think I can get canceled for making fun of Jim Irsay?
I don't know. You're not an indie.
Oh, I mean, whatever. There's our legendary offensive line coach who said that he wanted to zone block the Bears in the Super Bowl in 2007, and with Jeff, he said I want to man block him, and our line coach said, who am I to go against Jeff Saturday? And so we man blocked him, and that's just the kind of guy Jeff Saturday was. I was like, now let's think about it this way. Jeff Saturday goes up to the line coach and says, hey, let's man block him instead of zone block him.
Uh-huh.
Line coach says, you sure you want to do that? Peyton Manning goes, hell no, we ain't doing that. Now what are we doing?
We're doing what Peyton wants.
What Peyton says.
Yes.
I mean, come on now. And I know in my heart that that we've got just the best coach, and it's unbelievable. I mean, boy, I am praying for years and years and years of good health for Mr. Jim Irsay. Because as long as he's owning the Colts, unless they get another Andrew Luck, as long as he's owning the Colts, I think I feel pretty good about the Titans in this situation. What a doozy of a press conference yesterday.
It felt like an SNL skit.
I'll give Jim Irsay credit, though. He's the one guy who had the stones to say Dan Snyder's got to go. I will give him credit for that.
I do appreciate that.
I will give him credit for that because every other owner's afraid
Jim
to say
Irsay, voice of reason.
You guys can say Chris Ballard's no good, but your words don't mean anything because these are facts. He's a winner.
But also, if I hear that and I'm Chris Ballard, I'm like, what?
Dude, when he said the Michael Jordan thing, about, like, do you know how many games Michael Jordan lost? Chris Ballard looked up like, what the? Like,
just watching their faces, listening to them, listening to Irsay. It was like Saturday. I know it's been a whirlwind. He's probably exhausted, but he looked like, just like ghost face. It's just straight ahead, zero expression.
I didn't watch
wild.
enough of the ESPN this morning, the Get Up show.
Yeah.
But they did start it, and Saturday's usually on Tuesdays. And so they had a seat open at the desk, and they had pancakes there because he always does like the big pancake blocks or whatever.
Right.
And so all the group was like, Jeff Saturday's not here with us, ha, ha, ha. And they were all clapping or whatever. But Dominique Foxworth was on the set. And, Dominique Foxworth is like Mr. like Rooney Rule.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Mr. like black coaches don't get enough opportunities and everything else.
Yeah.
And so I did wonder if Dominique Foxworth was going to throw a huge stink over that, or if he wasn't because Saturday was his guy because they've been working together.
Wait, and did you hear Irsay in response to the Rooney Rule? And
it's just an
we're falling
interim
into
job.
a T.
Well, it's just an interim job, and it's only 8 games, and we'll see after that where it goes and how it goes, and. I remember when we had Peyton Manning and we won all these games, and I just don't know why it can't be like the way it was then. It's like, because you had Peyton Manning, you old coot.
Sound like he
That's
even
why.
took a shot at Andrew Luck. He's like, and I never had a quarterback just retire on me in the middle of the season like that.
No, he goes, I've never seen a quarterback. We've had to deal with every challenge. Like a quarterback coming up to us in the middle of his prime at 29 years old and deciding to retire a week before the season. And we've faced all those challenges head on.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, it was wild.
Just off his freaking rocker.
Yeah, but come on, man. It's par for the course. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Let me say this. I got some thoughts about Saturday's Tennessee-Georgia game. I got some thoughts about how Tennessee fans did feel. I've got some thoughts about how they should feel. And I'm going to have to tell them what reality was, and we'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity line of credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Mount Juliet has a new Dunkin' store, and the Game invites you to join us this Saturday morning for their grand opening at 2234 North Mount Juliet Road. We'll be there with Predators tickets to give away, plus lots of free stuff. That's this Saturday morning at the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like breathtaking means yikes. Fixer-upper? It was definitely on an episode of Hoarders. And close to everything? Well, I hope you like the sound of trains. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if the house is charming, it's probably ugly, but has a great personality. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3. Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving 102.5, 106.3. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Trevor Maddich usually joins us on Tuesdays. Trevor had to postpone on us. We'll talk to him, I believe, on Friday. So, we'll see Trevor then. But that's not going to stop me from talking about the Tennessee-Georgia game, which, by the way, got 13 million viewers.
That is huge.
13 million viewers. Will you throw me that little book right there?
Sure.
Because I believe I have inside of it.
Oh, God.
Toss it over. You got it. There you go. Good job. I think I have inside of it what that would have meant for last year's numbers. Here you go. This is how many games last season Tennessee and Georgia with I think it's 13.06 million viewers, how many that they would have beaten. They would have beaten Auburn, Alabama in the Iron Bowl last year by 3 million viewers.
Ooh.
They would have beaten the Big Ten Championship game, which had 11.6 million viewers. They would have beaten the Sugar Bowl. They would have beaten the Big 12 Championship game. They would have doubled the Fiesta Bowl, basically. They would have beaten Notre Dame, Florida State, Florida, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State. And, they would have crushed these games. The only games that would have had more viewers last season than Tennessee versus Georgia's 13 million viewers is the national championship game, the 2 semifinals, the Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Michigan, and the SEC title game. That's it.
So one regular season game, basically.
Yes, one regular season game beat it. And now Tennessee has had the 2 biggest games this season, the Tennessee-Alabama game and the Tennessee-Georgia game. Tennessee-Georgia first, Tennessee-Alabama second. Mm-hmm. I'm stunned because the game wasn't even close, in my opinion. The game wasn't close.
No, it didn't feel close, but I think it was just the allure of one playing, really 2, but one playing 3 for all the marbles, huge game, interesting for everyone. I would say if the game was close, though, like if that was a barn burner like Tennessee-Alabama was, would you expect 15?
Probably 14.
But still, that's
But
huge.
that's
to your
why,
point, 13 million viewers for a game that really wasn't that close.
Oh,
huge.
No, that's beating the World Series. Those are huge numbers.
Is it that hard to do these days to beat the World Series?
The World Series is not that bad. The World Series, in terms of viewership, it's not that bad. Now, I will say this. I thought Saturday was a great day for the Tennessee Volunteers. I thought Saturday was a great day. Now, people are going to be mad when I say this. Georgia is a better team. If they played 10 times, Georgia would probably beat them 9, maybe 10. I really think that Georgia is that. I think Georgia is head and shoulders better than everybody else. and that it's not that close, and that not only we talked about how Tennessee's the number one offense versus Georgia, the number one defense, and we kept sneaking that in there a little bit of, well, but Georgia also has the number 2 offense, and Georgia proved it. On both sides of the ball. I thought Georgia was fantastic, but I thought that Saturday was a great day for Tennessee because even though they lost, they didn't lose by the 40 points that Oregon lost to Georgia, so they survived by 32 points more than Oregon did versus Georgia. So now if it becomes Oregon won the Pac-12 and they only have one loss to Georgia and Tennessee only has one loss to Georgia, it would be, well, Tennessee has better wins because they beat Alabama, they beat LSU, and on top of it, they went on the road to Georgia and lost by 14, whereas Oregon went on the road.
Neutral site,
site, and lost by 46 or whatever, a 32-point difference. And so the reality, I think that matters just between those two teams if it comes down to that. But I don't think it's going to come down to that because, honestly, I think they're both going to get in because Clemson lost, so they're out because they don't have any good wins, and they're not going to get any good wins. In fact, I think they're going to lose this weekend to Louisville because Louisville's playing great, and they're in such disarray, Clemson is. So Clemson's gone. See ya.
Yeah, Clemson's done.
And
Alabama's done.
Alabama's out. So now there's 4 spots. Robbie Stanley had the most ridiculous take I've ever seen Saturday night when he said that Tennessee fans should root for Alabama. And I'm like, that's nuts.
No.
Because all you have to do is think about the 4 slots. 1 goes to Georgia because even if they lose the SEC championship game, Georgia's going to get in.
But that would be the worst scenario for Tennessee fans is if Georgia loses the SEC championship.
Why?
Because a 2-loss LSU team, if they beat Georgia in the SEC championship, LSU has a case to get into the college football playoff.
Oh, no, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Tennessee smoked LSU.
But LSU would have beaten Georgia, which undoubtedly is the best win in college football. So LSU has that win over Georgia and the SEC champion. If there's any case for a 2-loss team to ever get into the college football playoff, LSU would have it.
LSU would have it if they didn't get smoked at home by Tennessee.
Well, yeah, obviously, because then there'd only be a 1-loss team, and
so
that would be a lot easier.
Tennessee does not have to worry.
I
about
think
LSU.
I think that is the one scenario that Tennessee does have to worry about.
Oh, I know. I think the better scenario would be if Ole Miss, were to beat Alabama this weekend and have 1 loss, and even then they still wouldn't get in with 1 loss.
They wouldn't get in. No.
So there's no way. Nope. So Georgia gets a spot, in my opinion. Georgia gets a spot. Plus, Georgia can kill LSU in the SEC title.
I don't expect LSU to beat them in the SEC title game, but I'm saying that's the scenario that Tennessee fans don't want to happen.
Oh, I don't think it matters, but I'm sure Baton Rouge radio is talking about how.
Oh, please.
We can do this.
Nashville radio was talking about it today.
Why?
Because it is a legitimate scenario.
Was this Joe talking about it?
Joe and the Midday Show.
So this is like Joe when he was talking about how 2-loss Tennessee could get into the college
Heather
football playoff?
Dinich was talking about it. How LSU would have the strongest case and has the strongest case for a 2-loss team to get into the college football playoff if LSU runs the table and beats Georgia in the SEC title game. It's not that crazy of a convoluted idea, and this is not me, LSU fan, trying to come up with some crazy idea. It's a legitimate case.
I don't think it's a legitimate case.
I do.
I think it's pretty simple. They have 1 loss. You have 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 good wins. They have 2 good wins. And beat
and Tennessee has the head-to-head.
They beat the living crap out of you at your house.
And LSU would have been able to do what Tennessee couldn't, and that's beat Georgia.
Yeah, but the round robin only matters if Tennessee didn't beat LSU and had 2 losses. So
you're going to put 2 SEC teams in the college football playoff and not the SEC champion?
Yes.
I'm not saying that it's going to happen.
Georgia,
I'm just saying there's a case.
Maybe Georgia doesn't get in if Georgia loses to LSU. But even then, I still think they get in.
But then that's the head-to-head situation.
I digress. Georgia gets a spot because they're going to beat LSU in the championship game anyways. Georgia gets in. The winner of the Ohio State-Michigan game is also going to win the Big Ten. They get in.
Mm-hmm.
So those are 2 slots. Where are the other 2? And the reality is TCU ain't going undefeated. The rest of they are neck and neck in all these Big 12 games, and they are going up against Baylor, and they are going up against Texas this weekend, and then they're going to have to play one of these teams that they barely beat, like Kansas State or one of the other teams they barely beat. They're going to have to play them in the Big 12 championship. They are not going to go unscathed. They are going to lose a game. Just trust me.
TCU?
Kids, yeah. They lost to Oklahoma, or they're going to play Oklahoma State or Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. I think they'll probably lose this weekend to Texas.
That's what I was going to say. I think they'll probably lose this weekend.
I've seen enough at TCU. They're not going undefeated. So forget about them. So now there's no way Tennessee loses to Missouri, South Carolina, or Vandy.
No.
They're in.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they lost Saturday, even though Tennessee fans got super, super jazzed up about this Georgia game and this showdown and the we're number one and the Robbie Stanley tears of joy at last week's college football playoff ranking that didn't mean anything and honestly wasn't fair to have Georgia at number 3 behind Ohio State. All of that, even though they lost and they were never close, they were never close in that game and they never had a shot. And if they played 10 times, I would take Georgia every time, and I think Georgia would win. I think Georgia is just that much better than Tennessee, and all that might hurt your heart. The reality is you're going to the college football playoff. There is no feasible way that Tennessee gets left out of the college football playoff unless they lose one of these games to these bum teams.
Yeah, well, if they have 2 losses and they don't go to the SEC championship, they're out.
Yeah, but they're not going to.
No.
So Tennessee is going to the college football playoff. So Saturday was a great day for the Tennessee Volunteers. Congratulations to UT on making it to the college football playoff on Saturday. And all of you conspiracy theorists can go hang out with Caroline about LSU finding their way with 2 losses.
This isn't something that I just pulled out of nowhere. This is a legitimate discussion that's been happening at the very top. Like ESPN is having these conversations.
Yeah, well, you're the one that brought it to my attention, so I'm blaming you for it. 615-737-1025. We'll get your thoughts in on that. Plus, the reality about college football. And to me, there is no discussing it. No discussing it. 615-737-1025. We'll get to that coming up. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are proud supporters of the Vols. That's right. Tough loss for the Vols, but they are proud supporters of Tennessee athletics and proud supporters of the Preds and proud supporters of Vandy. And guess what? It is about to get super cold. It's already getting cool now, but it's about to get super cold supposedly next week. So make sure your family is warm in your home with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes an HVAC replacement, a germicidal UV light, an extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Plus, Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy Will Be Your Services free guarantee, and you can go online to happyhiller.com. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guy's been taking care of my home for years. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get 0 interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
When it comes to procuring my adult beverages for the big games, I saddle up and head to Red Spirits and Wine. Red's titanic selection of beer, wine, distilled spirits, and cigars is second to none. And Red's Cracker Jack crew always delivers a winning combination of service and value. There's no two ways about it. Red is top of the range. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South in Bellevue. And check us out at redspirits.com.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come join us before any Preds game or concert at Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy one of our prime steaks. Why Bob's, you may ask? Because at Bob's, we not only serve prime beef, but the top 2% of prime beef in the world. Try our certified Japanese A5 or Australian tomahawks. So come see us at Omni before go to any game and make sure to ask for Chef Mark. Let's go Preds!
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
3rd down and 10. Georgia can get a first down around the 3. Bennett, pressure coming. Got away from one man, and now he's going to tuck it and go with it. Got the first down. He might have the touchdown.
It was in this game a year ago that Stetson Bennett showed his legs the extra dimension. A free blitzer, and that's a touchdown.
You had the number 1 team in the country come in here. Do you feel like you guys are playing with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I do. We felt like we were the reigning ones. You got to come and see us on our field. And I think we played like it. We attacked this week. It was pretty sweet.
Boy, Stetson Bennett told the truth. Jenny Dell's like, hey, you guys are ranked number 3. Did you have a problem? Yeah, we did. We did.
After Kirby said last week, we don't think about that.
Well, we haven't talked about it.
We're not talking about that.
And Stetson said it, too, in such a, reserved, not in your face.
But
yeah, that did bother me. And I was like, okay.
Well, did you see, too, he scored a touchdown, and afterwards he, flashed the phone thing?
Yeah,
after Tennessee fans leaked his number last year.
I thought that was this year, but I guess it was last year.
Maybe this year, whenever it was.
I will say this. First of all, Stetson Bennett might be the most improved player in college football, which is saying something because he was the quarterback of the team that won the national championship last year. But Stetson Bennett was awesome on Saturday. Tennessee fans ain't going to like this, but this is just the truth. I was not upset after the game on Saturday with Josh Heupel or Hendon Hooker or Jalen Hyatt or the offensive line. I looked at Saturday's game as Tennessee's just not as good as Georgia.
Georgia's just better than you.
They're just
Georgia's just that
better.
good.
And so Tennessee fans, because people are talking like, oh, well, if Hendon Hooker had hit a deep ball or if this had happened or if that, I'm like, no. Georgia was just the better team. They could play at Neyland Stadium and they wouldn't beat Georgia. They can play in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. They're not going to beat Georgia. They can play in Los Angeles in the national championship, and they're not going to be better than Georgia. They probably would have to play in, I would assume the way the committee would end up stacking it is we would probably see them play in the semifinal because I would think Tennessee would be ranked 4 unless they wanted a Georgia-Oregon repeat in the playoff because I think the 4 is going, this is just me, right now on this date. Georgia, Michigan, Tennessee, Oregon. That's what I think the 4 is going to be. But, I don't think any of those teams are going to beat Georgia, but I know it's not going to beat Tennessee. Don't be mad at your team for how they played Saturday. They just aren't good enough to play with Georgia. They just don't. And I'll say this because everybody with the draft gurus are telling me that Will Anderson at Alabama should be the number 1 player. And Trevor was talking to us last week about how Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle for Georgia, is so good that he might be the number one player.
He is so good.
And Mel's new big board came out, and Mel Kiper has Will Anderson 1 and Jalen Carter 2. And I'm watching that game on Saturday, and I'm like, how could you not take Jalen Carter? He looked like Jeffrey Simmons out there for the Georgia Bulldogs. And then that Georgia secondary, Kylie Ringo, he's awesome.
Keely
Ringo, he's awesome.
He is awesome.
They're awesome. I mean, and then to top it off, like Stetson Bennett he's great.
Stetson Bennett last year, I called him nothing but a passenger. But this year, he is in full control of that offense.
So Nick Saban made him beat them in the SEC championship game, and he didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody, me included, watched that SEC championship game and thought Stetson Bennett is the wink link and that they're going to be good enough, but they'll get matched up with Ohio State or Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get matched up with Ohio State or Michigan or Alabama again, they'll put the game in Stetson Bennett's hands, and Stetson Bennett will lose them the game. And
I
that's
always
exactly what happened. And what happened in that game was Stetson Bennett played great in the national championship game. Now, Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the middle of the game, and I thought that had a big impact on it. But Stetson played good in the national championship game. And since then, he dominated Oregon in the first week of the season when everybody watched, and then nobody watched, and then he dominated Tennessee. I am a Stetson Bennett fan after what I saw on Saturday. I think he should be in the mix for the Heisman Trophy. I think that Stetson Bennett is awesome for a college quarterback, and no matter how many times they play, or where they play, or how they play, I do not think that Tennessee will beat Georgia. I think Georgia is that much better than Tennessee.
Yeah, Georgia's just really freaking good. And I don't think that Stetson Bennett really has the stats that stack up against some of the other quarterbacks in the country to be a Heisman finalist.
C.J. Stroud in that performance against 1-6 Northwestern on Saturday.
It wasn't great. 1-8 Northwestern to make it even
I'm sorry.
worse.
1-6 in the Big Ten.
1-8 overall in the season. I hear you. I know, but right now C.J. Stroud is the front runner.
Why?
Because Hendon Hooker lost a game.
Has
That's
anybody
why.
watched a game that C.J. Stroud's played this year?
I watched the Ohio State-Penn State game, and I
They
was
weren't
not
that good in that.
I wasn't thrilled with C.J. Stroud, and then I honestly did not watch the Northwestern game, but seeing as though C.J. Stroud threw for 85 yards, but also it was really bad weather, so what?
Bad weather?
You going to throw the ball around the yard when it's windy?
I know this. They shouldn't care about that at the Heisman Trophy.
I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just saying, if you're going to justify an 85-yard performance, it was bad weather. They're not going to throw the football.
Maybe I'm just an SEC homer. I think right now it should be a three-way tie between Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, and Stetson Bennett.
I understand that Alabama's lost 2 games, but I'm shocked Bryce Young's not getting a little bit more Heisman love. He is the best quarterback in college football.
And I lean towards Bennett right now. Although I'm not going to write Hooker off either. Hooker, I watched Lamar Jackson lose a game and still win the Heisman. Now, Lamar that year had unbelievable stats, but Lamar had the big game against Florida State early in the season that kind of propelled him to the top. And then even though he lost a couple of games down the stretch, Lamar still won the Heisman. Hooker had that game against Alabama. And so he loses a game, but it's still to me.
Stetson Bennett also had that Missouri game, which wasn't great. So if we're going to hold the Northwestern game against C.J. Stroud, we're going to hold that against Hendon Hooker.
But
Stetson Bennett.
But nobody watched that game.
It doesn't matter.
It was on the SEC network on Saturday night. The Jordan Rogers crew called that game.
It doesn't matter if nobody watched it.
It absolutely matters if people watch it.
No, it doesn't.
That's how people win the Heisman.
No, it doesn't.
Nobody ever wins the Heisman because of what they did on the ACC network game at noon. They win the Heisman for what Johnny Manziel does against Alabama on CBS.
Well, you can lose the Heisman for what you do on the ACC network at noon.
Can you?
Yes.
Who has?
Stetson Bennett will.
No.
Stetson Bennett isn't even a top 10, I don't think, for Heisman odds.
I know, because everybody thinks he sucks. He's like Ryan Tannehill. No matter what he does, everybody thinks he stinks. And Stetson Bennett, I think Stetson Bennett has turned into a dude. And I think the reason that the Georgia Bulldogs, this wasn't like the running game that I'm used to seeing from the Georgia Bulldogs, where it's like, we'll just put Todd Gurley in there. And then Todd Gurley goes out, we'll just put in Nick Chubb. That is not what the Georgia Bulldogs have at running back right now. The traditional Georgia running game. And the receivers.
Still got a pretty good running game.
But it's not.
No, it's not Nick Chubb.
And Todd Gurley sharing carries.
No, it's not.
Now, receiver, It's not George Pickens like last year. You know, that one guy that he threw that deep ball to, I'd never heard of. Now, they do have the tight ends. The tight ends and Brock Bowers kid.
Brock Bowers is
awesome.
the real deal.
But Stetson is awesome. And that defense and Jalen Carter and Keely Ringo, they're awesome.
I'm glad that you're naming real Georgia players this time.
Thank you. The Bulldogs are legit, and Tennessee's not going to beat them. 615-737-1025. What do we have in our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com?
One texter texts in and says, as a VFL, I was disappointed with the outcome of the game for about 10 minutes. But once I sat back and looked at the big picture, I'm hopeful for the future. It's year 2. Imagine when these big recruits start pouring in, the Vols will continue getting better.
Maybe. I have no idea what the future is going to hold.
But I don't
think about the playoff this year.
Yeah, I don't think right now is time to think about the future. I think you think about, okay, we can actually make the playoff now. It's not like our season's a wash and let's look forward to our $8 million quarterback coming in next year.
This is what I think is going to happen. The way I think it's going to be. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Tennessee 3, Oregon 4. Tennessee over Oregon because of the differential in score against Georgia.
Even if Oregon wins the Pac-12?
Even if Oregon wins the Pac-12. And so that would mean, where is the second? I think one of the semifinals is the Peach Bowl in Atlanta.
One's Peach Bowl, one's Fiesta Bowl.
So that would put Tennessee and Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona.
Probably.
And I know you'd be dragged to that.
I will be there with bells on.
There you go. 615-737-1025. More of your phones. Plus what Feinbaum said about Nick Saban. Boy, he got all worked up about that. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025 today on the program. And we'll give something away later this hour. So be excited about that. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Hey, this Sunday following the Titans game, tune in for the post-game show with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow, live from the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. The post-game show is brought to you by Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford. Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Two icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
What's up, everyone? It's me, Michelle Knezovic, and I want to know if you can beat Vegas this football season. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at Superbook in Las Vegas. Listen, I like the Tennessee Titans plus 305 to win the division. I still think that they have a chance to take the AFC South. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promos bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com. Start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Nashville Jam Company is already a super popular weekend breakfast and brunch destination. But with summer over, it's time to put the beach body away for a while. So for fall, they've expanded their offerings and added what they call the Meat and 3 menu. Yeah, cool weather and Southern comfort food go hand in hand. And the stars of this show are the hefty meatloaf, Southern fried catfish, slow-cooked pot roast, fried chicken, Salisbury steak, and a slew of other rib, stick, and delicacies. And they have salads, too, if you're into that kind of thing. Come see the new menu Monday through Friday from 10:30 till 2.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Do you believe that this is just a one-year thing, or do you think that the rest of college football has caught up to Saban and Alabama?
You can never rule out a school like Alabama, as Keyshawn was alluding to, but I think college football has caught up to Alabama. I think that's really the bigger picture view. And at the
rest in peace, Stephen A.
Yes, Stephen A. Stephen A., at the end of this season, when Alabama is sitting home watching the national championship, that will mark 5 years in which Alabama has one title. That is, Nick Saban was winning titles pretty much every other year, and those he wasn't winning, he was in the championship game. But Stephen A., I'm going to go back to, I think it was April, because I know that you had a long conversation with Nick Saban, because he called me the same day and was not happy because I was not as sympathetic as you were. And that very day, he's spending time calling you and calling me. He should have been out grabbing players. And you know the player, Keyshawn, that may have cost Alabama this entire season? He's residing in Southern Cal. Jordan Addison, the Biletnikoff winner from Pittsburgh, was close to Bryce Young, and he was considering going to Alabama. But you can tell me what happened, why he ended up choosing Southern Cal.
I can't tell you anything.
There may be, I don't know, quite a few. Let me get some dollar bills out. But I think that one player may have been the key to this season.
Alabama stinks. That was from Feinbaum. Even though they've lost all their games by a combined 4 points. But they stink on defense. They stink. That defense is cheeks.
It's not great.
Especially by the standard that Alabama has set.
Especially since Will Anderson was supposed to be the best player in college football.
He
Not
ain't
even
no Jalen
defensive
Carter.
player. No.
Jalen Carter for Georgia, that freaking guy, that big old boy.
Will Anderson last year was that dude, but he is not anywhere close to what he was last year.
I think it was like Clowney was kind of like that, where his sophomore year, Clowney was unstoppable at South Carolina.
When he destroyed that Michigan player.
And, yeah, everybody just thought that Clowney was – now, Clowney just didn't play. Like, he just said he had a rib injury and was like, oh, I can't play this game. And Steve Spurrier, who doesn't really hold back, was like, well, Jadavian doesn't feel like playing today, so, I guess he's not going to play. And, really made it look like Clowney was a freaking bum, and we later learned out the hard way that he is. But, yeah, no, the Alabama defense stinks. And Bryce Young, wow, what a comeback, and it didn't matter.
I feel so bad for Bryce Young.
Wow, was he good. All right, phones, 615-737-1025. Russell's up next on Georgia in the playoff. By the way, Trevor Maddich usually joins us. He'll join us on Friday. Had something come up. Go ahead, Russell.
Hey, Jared. Just wanted to bring up a point. You said that you thought that Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Tennessee, probably not in that order, But all those teams have one thing in common. If they make it to the college football playoff, their last loss will be to Georgia.
Okay.
So, just thought it was an interesting point, and I do agree with you that it could be them, but all of them have history with Georgia, recent history, and I think they're all going to lose again to Georgia.
Thank you, Russell. I don't I haven't watched enough Michigan, and I know they slaughtered Penn
Michigan's
State.
Pretty good.
And I know they haven't played anybody else, and apparently they have a great running back, and we'll see when they play Ohio State. I'm just thinking that I am going to take Michigan over Ohio State, even though the game is in the Big House, I believe. No, the game is at Ohio State this year. So that's probably going to be really tough for Michigan to win. But it's really, to me, it's the winner of Michigan and Ohio State. But whoever that is going to be that second team.
I think the loser of that game still would have a case to get in.
Would they have a better case than Oregon?
Maybe.
See, that's where you lose me, because the Pac-12 has USC, who's ranked, UCLA, who's ranked, Utah, who's ranked. So all these wins that Oregon's going to have. And not only that, Oregon is killing people right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you how good Georgia is, that Oregon lost that game. We were like, Oregon. And Oregon is, ever since they lost that Georgia game, Oregon is killing people out there out west, whereas Ohio State, let's say they lose to Michigan, all they're going to have to show for themselves is a win against Penn State.
Well, I think that, let's say Ohio State beats Michigan. I think Michigan would have a better case to get in with a one loss to Ohio State than Ohio State would with a loss to Michigan.
But then
because Michigan has just been blowing everybody out.
They still only have one good win.
Penn State.
Right. So
true.
You got one win.
And a very close loss to Ohio State, who's probably going to be second in the country.
I've told you this.
I think that there is still a case for either Michigan or Ohio State. Whoever loses that game, there's still a case for them. Because it would be the same case as Tennessee. And I know Tennessee has beaten more top 25 teams than either Michigan or Ohio State would, but it would be the same scenario where you lose one game to a team that's a shoo-in for the playoff. So I'm not writing that off as a possibility.
See, I think if Oregon had lost to anybody but Georgia, then I think there's a case there. But because Oregon's loss was to Georgia, it's like, wow, Georgia is just really that good.
Also a blowout.
And there's no way that any other, this is the same with Tennessee. There's no way for me that I could put a team in that lost to a team that is worse than Georgia when those two teams only lost to Georgia, and Georgia is that much better than everybody else.
I hear you.
I mean, I just think that to be fair, going back to that conspiracy theory about two-loss LSU getting into the college football playoff, like, I think that is just talk. Like, I think that is, we could make this case about LSU, and it would give us something to debate, but it's not actually possible that a two-loss SEC champion LSU would get in over Tennessee. And I think that this Ohio State-Michigan thing is kind of the same, which is, would that team get in over Georgia? Oregon, and I just can't see it because Oregon's only loss is to Georgia.
Now,
so you're talking about they would have 4 good wins, one over USC, one over UCLA, one over Utah, one in the Pac-12 championship game. So they'd have 4 good wins, and their only loss would be to Georgia, and that happened at the beginning of the year. I can't see them keeping Oregon out.
I'm still saying that there would be a case to get in.
I know, but that's just talk. Just like that LSU case, but there's no way.
What are we doing? What do we do every day? We just talk.
I know, but that's crazy talk.
No, it's not crazy.
It's crazy talk.
No, it is not. These are
two-loss LSU team getting into the college football playoff. That's like Joe talking about a 2-loss Tennessee team.
No, that is completely different.
Getting into the playoff. That was crazy talk.
That was crazy. But LSU winning the SEC championship, and if you want to make the argument for Oregon at the beginning of the year, well, one of LSU's losses was at the beginning of the year.
Not the second one.
To one of the best teams in college football.
And that would be who you're weighing them against.
Yeah, maybe.
So you have to pick them or them.
SEC champion or a team that didn't play in the SEC championship.
Did the team in the SEC championship?
You can have the debate.
Did the team in the SEC championship blow out the team that won the SEC championship and have less losses and blow them out at their own house?
What?
I said, did the team, you're arguing SEC champion.
Yes.
Versus one-loss team that didn't even make it into the SEC championship.
Yes.
Did the one-loss team blow out the SEC champion in their own house?
Did the 2-loss team beat the best team in college football?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
They're not going
That's
to put
literally
in a 2-loss
what
team.
matters.
They've never done it. They will not do it. Brendan is up next on Georgia. Thank you for calling. What you got, Brendan?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Long-time listener, huge fan of the show, so thanks for taking my call. I just want to talk. I'm from Big Ten country. I come from Michigan, and I truly believe a one-loss Michigan or a one-loss or a 2-loss Ohio State team or one-loss Ohio State team gets in over an Oregon or a any other or a 2-loss LSU team. But watching Ohio State play live a couple times this season, I mean, it all comes down to the front seven. I think Ohio State is going to give Georgia the best run for their money, but if they can't stop Georgia's dynamic running game and the way Stetson Bennett's been playing, I don't think anybody has a prayer against this Bulldogs team. Going to turn off and listen to you guys' comments. Thanks again for taking my call.
Thank you. I have never noticed anything like these Ohio State fans that call in and talk about the smallest little things to talk about Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like it happens on
Ohio
XM.
State fans are something.
If I host a show on Sunday on Sirius XM, I'd be talking about like Justin Herbert, and I'll have somebody call in that's like, yeah, the Buckeyes played a close game with Northwestern. I wonder what your thoughts on it were. It's like,
it shouldn't have been a close win.
All right, so here you go. Strength of schedule. Hold on. What? I hate your power index. All I want is strength of schedule, ESPN. Here you go. Strength of schedule. And I think this kind of matters. Guess who has the number one strength of schedule in America?
Who?
Ian, you want to take a guess? Number one strength of schedule in America?
Is it Tennessee?
There too.
I don't know.
Vandy.
Oh, they did play Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama this year.
Vandy, number one strength of schedule in the country. Okay, here you go. As far as strength of schedule is concerned, because this is what I think is going to hold the Big Ten teams out, is that they are truly nowhere to be found. Like when you go to the top and you're ranking the top teams in college football, and it's like strength of schedule. Georgia doesn't have a great strength of schedule at 47, but it's still not awful.
It doesn't matter.
Michigan is 73. Ohio State is 53. Oregon is 27. And their remaining strength of schedules are much higher because they play each other, but it's still not good enough, in my opinion, to get over Oregon, who, again, is like 40 slots ahead of them in strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose, you don't win your conference championship, you have as many losses as they do, and they lost to Georgia, and your strength of schedule is worse. I don't think you're getting in over Oregon.
Okay.
The idea, because the caller was like, I think they'd put in Ohio State or they'd put in, I'm like, I don't think so.
I don't know. And it's tough, too, because looking at the rest of Oregon's schedule, they have yet to play Utah, correct?
Oh, man. Do I? Yes. I don't know.
So, yeah, they play Washington and Utah in the next 2 weeks. They'll beat Washington. But Utah, I think, could be an interesting game. And is that what kind of shifts things and shakes things up?
They're killing people.
Because if Oregon loses one more game, nobody from the Pac-12 is going to the college football playoff.
Killing people right now. Like, they play UCLA and they killed them.
I'm just saying.
Did they play USC?
Did they play USC?
No.
So they'd have to play USC in the Big 12 in the Pac-12 championship.
Probably.
So then think about this, with, again, their strength of schedule being 20 slots, 40 slots higher than Ohio State and Michigan. If Ohio State, Michigan loses, the loser of that game doesn't get the added strength of schedule of playing in the Big Ten championship.
Right.
And Oregon will get the added benefit of playing USC in the Pac-12 championship. So they're going, in my opinion.
If they win out, I believe, yes, they're going.
But again, if Tennessee's got the number 2 strength of schedule in America, Tennessee is going to make it to the college football playoff.
I would say probably yes.
Which is, in my opinion, inevitable. I'm surprised we didn't have any Tennessee fans calling and yell about, you don't think we can beat Georgia. Apparently they were as convinced as I was watching the game.
And I did hear somebody today on our air, and I don't want to say who it was because I don't necessarily remember.
Joe.
No, I don't think it was Joe. Saying that if Tennessee plays Georgia again, no way Tennessee loses that game.
Oh, no! It had to be Derek.
I think it was Derek.
It had to be Derek.
I think it may have been
It
Derek.
had to be Derek Mason. Had to.
And I do not subscribe to that belief. I just think that Georgia is that good.
Yeah, you know it's bad when not even Joe will jump on board with that take.
And also, I don't think that the committee would want a Georgia-Tennessee rematch because it wasn't a close game in the playoff.
I mean, they can't, the national championship game.
No, I'm saying the semifinals. They're not going to have Georgia-Tennessee going head-to-head in the semifinal when they can orchestrate that.
No, but boy, Georgia-Tennessee in Los Angeles, that would be... Because wasn't the game last year in Indianapolis, and people were like, oh, Alabama, Georgia, and Indiana. Yeah. It's going to be a lot worse, Georgia and Tennessee and Los Angeles. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 if you want to get in. The Jared's Film Room was not promising for one Malik Willis. We'll touch on that coming up. Again, Trevor usually joins us. He's out. Stillman and Company. FanDuel Sportsbook's my official sportsbook app. One of the things I love about betting on the NFL is you can always find new players or game props that you like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these bets with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout, which is perfect for Thursday night football. Deontay Foreman running the ball, over rushing yards. Marcus Mariota running the ball, over rushing yards, whatever. Those two teams lit it up last time they played a couple weeks ago. FanDuel Sportsbook is easy to use. They have live betting, which means you can place your bet in the middle of the game. And they got fast withdrawals, so when you win, FanDuel pays you your winnings quickly. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code JGM. That's promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Look for partly to mainly clear skies as we head into the overnight. Temperatures on the cool side around 50. Another gorgeous day on tap Wednesday. Mainly sunny skies. Highs top off in the mid-70s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
In honor of Veterans Day, Twin Peaks is celebrating those who have given the ultimate sacrifice by giving back to Tunnel to Towers. Tunnel to Towers is a foundation which helps America's heroes by providing homes to first responder families. Get to Twin Peaks and donate $5 to Tunnel to Towers through November 30th and receive $5 back to spend on yourself at Twin Peaks this December. Visit your favorite Twin Peaks for more information. Valid at participating locations.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
People of all ages can experience spine pain. What hurts the most is what it does to your life, making simple activities feel like an uphill battle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics and their team of specialists aim to get you back to your active and enjoyable life. Let Houston Clinic Orthopedics bring lasting relief if you're suffering from any of the following: spinal stenosis, herniated discs, sciatica, degenerative disc disease, and more. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Chase McCabe.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Malik, I know one of the concerns in the week one was kind of the hesitation at times on passes. Did you see any change, any improvement in week two in that regard?
Yeah. I thought that he was more decisive. I think there were some things that could have obviously been better, but I thought even Chig, I thought he tried to flatten Chig out, and we just got to get Chig on the same page with Malik, and he threw it in a spot where it was going to be Chig or nobody, on the over route. So, there were times where he was putting the ball where we wanted it, and we just have to be more consistent. The throw to hoop on the move. I mean, that's a fantastic throw. It's an unbelievable play.
Mike Vrabel just telling you how great Malik Willis played. That throw to Hooper off his back foot, that was a great throw. And then the other one to Chigakonkwo that they didn't complete, that would have been a huge gain if they were able to get it. That was good too. But that's not the attitude that we had today inside Jared's film room.
You are now entering Jared's film room.
Inside the film room, the tape does not tell that story. Basically, this is the way I would sum it up to anybody about what the tape actually said about Malik Willis. Now, I can give specific examples, but I'm not sure that people want to hear that. Number one, decisiveness with the football. Malik is only decisive with the football when he knows where he's going to throw it before the snap, which means he has to be in the shotgun, which is where all of his decisive throws came from. And not only does he have to be in the shotgun, it has to be clear man-to-man single coverage, and then he's just going to throw the ball to the spot, and then maybe the guy goes up and makes a play. Austin Hooper made a play in which he went up and came down with it. Austin Hooper didn't make a play the second time. Westbrook Akine didn't make a play. Chris Conley didn't make a play. But that is the only decisiveness that comes from Malik Willis is before the snap when he knows where he's throwing it and he knows it's single coverage and he stands there and he lifts his leg up and then Nate Davis puts his hand in between Ben Jones' legs and Ben Jones snaps it and Malik just turns his shoulders and throws it. You can't do that in the NFL. You have to be able to read coverages. You have to be able to see the field. The second thing is on the RPO, many times Malik Willis did the opposite of what he should have done. 3rd and 5, Haskins has a lane right up the middle. He keeps it, gets tackled, gains 3 yards. First play of the second half, Derrick Henry, RPO, gives it to Derrick. He gets one. Everybody crashed on Derrick. If he runs to the right where Jeff Swaim is running a block, Malik probably has a 20-yard gain. Malik is not great throwing on the move, and he's not very accurate. The one ball in which he really put it there was the throw to Conley. That was a ball that he put there, and that was a great throw. Everything else, for the most part, there had to be an adjustment here. It was too wide there, or in the case of one of those balls to Robert Woods, he completely threw it over his head. So I don't know what that means for a rookie quarterback. I do remember this. I remember when Mariota was the quarterback, and Floyd told me that it's a 4 or 5 year plan with the quarterback. And now I think in today's terms, it's probably been sped up a little bit. But the first year was just make sure you don't get killed. The second year was understanding your offense. The third year was understanding their defense. And then by the 4th and 5th year, you had to master it. And that was the way that he kind of went about that. Now we see second-year guys winning the MVP award, whether it's Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow taking Cincinnati to the Super Bowl in the second year. Mm-hmm. Not to say, those guys were all first-round picks, and Malik was not. So I don't know if like that's bad for where Malik's supposed to be, but I know that it's bad for what they got on the field on Sunday. And I feel like I'm on an island by myself just screaming about the fact that if Tannehill gets hurt, that your season in which I think you can beat pretty much everybody. And we don't have an update on Josh Allen, do we?
Not that I've seen.
Ian, you seen an update on Josh Allen?
Nope.
So, I mean, I long way of saying, like, if Josh Allen is seriously hurt, it sounds like they're holding out for every single medical test they could find that could tell them that Josh Allen isn't hurt. And who knows? I mean, the Titans could easily be competing for the Super Bowl. And then Tannehill's one rolled ankle or cracked fibula or whatever it is that he has now away from just giving it away.
I mean, do you think that the Titans can realistically run the table in the playoffs with no receiving core? With basically no passing offense?
I do. Like, I really do think that the Titans could win the Super Bowl. And you know that I don't think much Tannehill. But I do think the Titans...
I think we can appreciate Tannehill a little bit more the past 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I do think that the league stinks so much now that with Josh Allen's not healthy. Now, if Allen's healthy, no. Yeah. But I do. I really do. You know, there's something about Vrabel and the way that they match up with these teams, and there's just no elite team outside of Buffalo. And I'm not convinced Philadelphia is elite, but maybe I'm crazy. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. 615-737-1025 is the number. I did promise we'd give something away this hour, so I guess I got to give that away since I did promise it. So we'll get to your phones if you've got them, 615-737-1025. But coming up next, something doesn't add up. What Malik has said, what Vrabel has said, what Tannehill has said, something doesn't add up. We'll get to that coming up next here on the program. If you've got a thought, get it in, 615-737-1025. And if you want to go to Music City Hockey, be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you'll win a pair of tickets to Music City Hockey at Bridgestone Arena on Friday, November 25th. Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic at Bridgestone Arena on Friday, November 25th at 6:30. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. The Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talked the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So is Ryan Tannehill going to play on Sunday against the Denver Broncos?
Do not know.
Nobody knows. What is wrong with Ryan Tannehill?
Ankle, stomach bug, I don't know.
High ankle? Low ankle?
They didn't tell you.
Mid ankle?
They won't tell you.
Nobody will say what is wrong with Tannehill. Even Adam Schefter said that it might have been a high ankle sprain. But I just can't figure out what the truth is. Because what the Tennessee Titans say and do has not added up with reality. So let's just start with analyzing Mike Vrabel over the last couple of days. After the game on Sunday, and let's remember that on Sunday, Ryan Tannehill went out on the field in shorts and cleats, no tape on the ankle, shorts and cleats, and he just threw the ball a little bit, and then he went to Mike Vrabel, and he and Mike Vrabel walked down the tunnel, according to the video from TD and from Jim Wyatt, that Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill went down the tunnel, and about 30 minutes later, they announced that Ryan Tannehill was inactive. So what went down in that talk? Tannehill didn't wear a suit to the game. After the game, though, Vrabel was asked about Tannehill, and Vrabel didn't want to talk about it.
He was listed as questionable. Ryan didn't play in the game. There's so many guys, Paul, that bust their ass out there tonight that I would be more than happy to talk about. So if we could ask about the players that actually played in the game, that'd be a great place to start.
Okay. So he didn't want to talk about it at all.
No.
He was in no mood to talk about Ryan Tannehill. Then he was asked about Tannehill yesterday, and I guess he was in a much better mood to talk about Tannehill and to put the onus of Tannehill not playing on himself.
Ryan has made some strides last week.
Yeah, he has. He worked extremely hard to try to get into a position to play in a football game. go through this with all the injuries. Can they reasonably do their job up to the expectations that we have? Can they protect themselves out there? And can they make it worse? So I wasn't able to answer all of those questions, for him to be able to play in the game.
Okay, so Vrabel says on Monday that he shut it down. Now, again, I think those three elements are kind of important. The first one is Vrabel saying that, can they play up to the expectation and the standards that we have? Well, even if Ryan Tannehill just stood in the pocket and took every snap out of shotgun, that still gives them a better chance than Malik Willis, because Malik can't see the field or really do anything. So that is yes.
Would it, though, if Ryan Tannehill's just stationary?
Yes.
He can't escape any sort of pressure?
Yes.
Probably right, but
the second
it feels
part,
weird to say that.
What was the second part? Could he re-injure it again and make it any worse?
Yes.
Now, I talked to somebody today that works on NFL players that told me a low ankle sprain would have just been pain tolerance. A high ankle sprain would possibly get worse. So keep that in mind.
But also, because if it's a high ankle sprain and it could get worse, it would make sense why he wouldn't play. But also, if it is a high ankle sprain, how could he possibly walk after he injured it?
Keep that on the back burner.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. The third thing he said was, can they protect themselves? Can Tannehill protect himself if he can't move off the ankle or push off the ankle or whatever? That may be the number one thing, is Vrabel's thinking like, our line sucks and we've already gotten him killed to begin with. And so now here we are and I don't want to put him in this mess. Okay, so that I guess makes sense. But here's what I don't get. If it's a high ankle sprain, they would have immediately ruled him out for the Texan game and for the Chiefs game. And quite frankly, they probably would have put him on IR. And the questions would have been, because a high ankle sprain is like 4 to 6 weeks. And then there's all the talk about the tightrope surgery and everything else that we haven't heard of. I don't think Ryan Tannehill's had surgery. I mean, again, he went out to practice on Thursday before the Texan game that was 2 weeks ago.
And if he did have surgery, why would they feel the need to keep that a secret?
Or not put him on IR.
Right.
So that doesn't add up with a high ankle sprain, that he was out on the practice field on Thursday before the Texan game. In fact, before the Texan game, Tannehill met with the media. Ian, if we got that one, Tannehill met with the media, and he told the media that he wanted to talk about Houston.
It's a process for sure. Just doing everything I can in the training room here, at home, all types of treatments. So, just trying to stay on top of it as much as I can and give my body the best chance to heal.
Is it a regular ankle sprain, high ankle sprain?
It's an ankle sprain. I'll leave it at that.
Will it be more of a pain tolerance thing than a structural thing when it comes down to it, do you think?
I don't know. We'll see.
You seem to think after the
You guys see where this is going, right? So, you can keep trying, or we can go on to Houston, whatever you guys want to do. Do what?
Did you dance at your daughter's wedding?
She's 4, so we're good.
You got some time.
Okay, so Ryan Tannehill said it's an ankle sprain. Adam Schefter said it's maybe a high ankle sprain. But a high ankle sprain is 4 to 6 weeks. And again, here's the other crazy thing. If Tannehill doesn't go on Sunday, the Titans have to sign Logan Woodside to the active roster.
Probably
because
so.
He's already been elevated twice off of the practice squad. So you can't keep elevating off the practice squad. Eventually you have to sign him to the active roster. Well, if the Titans knew that, if they knew this was a high ankle sprain, that's a 4 to 6 week injury, that's potential surgery with the tightrope surgery, then Ryan Tannehill would have probably been placed on IR. They would have used that roster spot for Logan Woodside so they could add somebody else for these games against the Chiefs and the Texans, right?
That makes sense.
But they didn't. Again, IR is 3 weeks, right? Or is it 4 weeks now?
It's 4 weeks.
Okay, so IR is 4 weeks. So it's a 4 to 6 week injury. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
None of this makes sense. So he said it's an ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't say whether it's high or low. But high is automatic 4 weeks, possible surgery. They haven't elevated Logan Woodside from the practice squad, which means that they're playing with a less player Because if they did elevate him, they could elevate somebody else up off the COVID list or off the practice squad because of the COVID rules that stayed. So that doesn't make any sense. And then I talked again to this guy today who works on NFL players, is a legitimate doctor of physical therapy and works on NFL players. And he said that normal ankle sprains normally don't take that long, or they shouldn't. It could be anything. He could have a small fracture or something. He could have cracked his fibula, come back in the game against the Colts and played and not known it until after the game or something like that. And I said, well, can you make a high ankle sprain worse by playing on it or a regular ankle sprain? He said a high ankle sprain you can make worse. He said a regular ankle sprain is just pain tolerance. You know what this makes me think?
What?
It's a low ankle sprain, and they're trying to get Tannehill to play through the pain.
But wouldn't he?
Steve McNair would.
But
it's a high ankle sprain.
How do you know?
No one knows. It's just more speculation.
So why would they not have put him on IR?
Because maybe, isn't there different varying degrees in severity with some of these?
I mean, I think a high ankle sprain is usually like pretty much a 4 to 6 week injury.
So, I mean, maybe there was some optimism since he was able to finish the game. But just when they announce it as an ankle sprain in the original injury, he looks like he's like grabbing at his knee. There's a different, just in the body part. I feel like it is something that's kind of shot up through some pain through his leg, and it's affecting the way he can move.
But neither scenario makes sense. Let's say it is a high ankle sprain, which would explain why he didn't play against the Chiefs. But then why isn't he on IR? And then if it's a low ankle sprain, it would make sense why he's not on IR, but that wouldn't explain why he wouldn't play against the Chiefs. I mean, you're 2 weeks removed from a low ankle sprain. I don't want to, push pain on anybody else, but come on.
And let's not forget Vrabel's crabby mood after the game.
I think that was more so about the game and less about Tannehill.
Did they put Mac Jones on IR?
No.
So with the quarterback, I think it's just different.
Now,
because
what
you talked about, like if there's an opportunity for him to play after 2 weeks.
But they didn't have to put Mac Jones on IR because all three quarterbacks were already on the roster. So they didn't have to create a spot for Bailey Zappi because he was already on the active roster.
Maybe it's just procedural, but still, I don't know. I just feel like if you put him on IR, he has to miss 4 games no matter what.
Here you go. This is from WashU, I believe in St. Louis.
Woostel.
It's them.
Yep.
WashU, which is one of the best schools in America.
Yeah.
So ortho.woostel.edu. High ankle sprain. Despite the fact that most athletes who experience a low ankle sprain can return to sports within 1 to 3 weeks following the injury, those players who sustain a high ankle sprain are often out sports 4 to 6 weeks, depending upon the severity of the injury.
Depending upon the severity. Maybe they looked at it and said it might be 4, but it could be 3.
But he was on the practice field?
So we're not going to run the risk of it being 4.
He wasn't a full practice any day.
No, but he was on the field.
Doing
Maybe they were trying to feel it out.
3 of the possible 6 days, Ryan Tannehill has been on the field in a limited capacity at practice.
But also, if it was a high ankle sprain, how in the world can you get back up and play? Because we bring up Mac Jones. I think back to him screaming
writhing
in
pain, yeah.
Had to be carried off the field because of a high ankle sprain. And I understand that it varies in severity. But don't you think that a high ankle sprain is bad enough to where you couldn't get yourself back up and play a football game?
So apparently Mac Jones, there's a big problem right now between Mac Jones and the Patriots. And Mac Jones, they wanted Mac to get the tightrope surgery, which is what Cedric Tillman got.
Right.
And Mac Jones didn't want to get it. Because I guess football players look at their careers like, I only have so many surgeries in me. Mm-hmm. And so if I get this one, then it's, dock that off my surgery count.
And it just is a domino effect from there.
But at the same time, Mac Jones got hurt on September 25th, and he came back on October 24th.
So it's 4 weeks, essentially.
That's 4 weeks. So, and I don't think he went on IR, but he only missed 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain in which he was screaming. And now let's not kid ourselves, he was pushed back into play. I mean,
And I'm sure Bailey Zappi balling out didn't necessarily slow down the process.
That's what I mean by he was. So he missed Green Bay, Detroit, and Cleveland. He did not play in those games. Green Bay, Detroit, and Cleveland. Mac Jones didn't play. So Mac Jones missed 3 games with a high ankle sprain in which they had to carry him off the field, and he was screaming in pain, and they wanted him to get the tightrope surgery, and he didn't. And Ryan Tannehill, we don't hear any talk about him getting surgery. We don't
hear any talk about anything.
He's got a helmet on the field on Thursday before the Texan game. So none of this adds up.
None of it makes sense.
So what do we make of it? 615-737-1025. And I am starting to lean towards it's a low ankle sprain and Tannehill just doesn't feel comfortable playing through the pain. That's what I think. That's just my gut on it. That's just me. 615-737-1025. Again, we'll have more clarity supposedly tomorrow when they practice for the Broncos, unless it's more of the same, nothing in the talk about whatever. But your thoughts, Stillman and Company. Plus, the one guy who I think actually gets the Titans and the Chiefs game right, and you will not believe who this guy is. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event. With savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond. November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra. Results vary.
Do Tennesseans know every word to Rocky Top? Well, the construction industry doesn't call our area rock country for no reason. Harmon Tractor and Equipment is your tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's employee-owned Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. So if you hit rock, need a breaker, and it's time to dig, give them a call. Rent a track loader, an excavator of any size for landscaping, building a pool, construction, utilities, or more. Visit ParmanTractor.com, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Never miss a moment of the show. What is this? Check it out. Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Improvement from Malik from one game to the next, and were there some things he could have done better in the second half when things weren't going well around him?
Yeah, I mean, there's always improvement, yes, and then there's things that all of us could have done to be better. You got to convert some third downs and be able to stay on the football field. And what I like is everybody's disappointed. Everybody knows the opportunity that we had. Offense is wishing that they would have been able to help the defense, but I didn't hear one time. And I can promise you I won't, about the defense having to go out there and, man, they can't get a first down. I mean, I'm lucky that doesn't happen. It's easy to do. Human nature says that you start pointing fingers or, hey, man, I don't want to be out here 100 plays. You guys aren't doing your job. And, everybody, I believe this, is in it together. Again, I go back to the special team. You watch Hassan run down there. Stone the guy on the kickoff, and guys are jacked up and excited, and that stuff will always be important to me because I know it makes a difference.
There you go, Vrabel rambling about nonsense. But one thing I do wonder when Vrabel is sitting there talking about, we didn't have one defensive guy that got mad at the offense. Did you have a defensive guy that looked at Ryan Tannehill if it's a low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, and the only thing that matters is pain tolerance, thinking, dude, you can't play? Because Jeffrey Simmons has a low ankle sprain, and he's playing. Mm-hmm. And not only is he playing, but the last 2 weeks he's dominated. And here's Ryan Tannehill. We don't know if it's a low ankle sprain or a high ankle sprain. All the signs, except for him playing, point to a low ankle sprain.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Okay, so the fact that he
went back
wasn't
out and played.
Carried off the field,
went
back and played against, they taped it up, he played against the Colts. The fact that he was limited as a practice participant on Thursday, and that Malik Willis said that he found out that he was starting on Saturday when the team left, and they elevated Logan Woodside to go to Houston. That's when Malik found out that he played. Then Tannehill was a limited participant on Wednesday and Friday of last week, and he was listed as questionable for the game. He traveled to Kansas City and was a game-time decision. Again, 2
was he
weeks.
Really, though?
I mean, they took him. You can't lie about that. Like, you can't lie that he's not a game-time decision. If you lie on the injury report, it's $50,000. At least it was years ago.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look, they lie on the injury report, but you're not supposed to. So we can only go off of what, they say, whatever. Vrabel was pissed about it after the game when he was asked about Tannehill, which, I mean, what did he expect? Of course he was going to be asked about Tannehill after the game. So if he was going to practice, like, is it worth it for every other player on your team to treat it like a regular injury? When a guy's out, he's out. Josh Kalu's out. Nate Davis is out. Bud Dupree has been ruled out. Trying to think of who else has missed games. Traylon Burks is out and is on IR. Like, would it make sense to do that with everybody else, but not do it with Tannehill because you're trying to sneak up on the Texans about who might play at quarterback? You're going to risk a fine from the NFL for lying on the injury report for that. I don't think so.
I don't think they're trying to play any sort of mind games. I think they're trying to do whatever they possibly can to not put him on IR.
So they were going to
risk him being out for 4 weeks.
So they were going to try to play him against the Texans with a high ankle sprain?
Did they? He didn't travel to Houston.
No, but he was sick. He was going to travel to Houston. And they decided to elevate Logan when he didn't travel.
I don't know.
And they listed him as questionable.
Whereas
they listed everybody else out.
But isn't Tannehill the kind of player that plays?
Apparently not. I thought he was.
Well, we don't know that.
But there's not like the actual actions do not say low ankle sprain or high ankle sprain. They say low ankle sprain. They had him on the field throwing, albeit not doing a lot, but he was on the field throwing Sunday, and then he went to Mike Vrabel, and they walked down the tunnel talking together.
Could it be something that's not a low ankle sprain and not a high ankle sprain?
Like a cracked fibula?
Tibia?
But remember, Tannehill said it was an ankle sprain.
Yeah, but did they not know that it wasn't an ankle sprain at the time?
Well, he said that on the Wednesday before the Texans game, so he clearly would have had an X-ray Sunday after the Colts game.
Yeah.
He would have had the X-ray, and so if it's a cracked tibia, they would have known that then. So it wouldn't have.
I mean, I am no orthopedist. Is that a word? But there has to be some sort of something between a low ankle sprain and a high ankle sprain, like a mid ankle sprain. What are you looking at me for?
I've never heard of a mid ankle sprain.
Well, I don't know. I just said I am not a doctor, so
Well,
I don't know.
We've heard of rappers named Big This or Little This, but we've never heard of a rapper named Medium This.
That is true. We haven't.
Think about that.
That is something to marinate on.
Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, 615-737-1025. Adam in Portland has been waiting patiently. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, man, I'm kind of stuck here because I feel like I'm not mad at Malik for playing the way that he did. You guys have been talking about it all year. You're like, this might happen whenever it comes to Malik. Now, I was optimistic to see what I would see from him, see if it was anything special. I'm at the point now, I was just telling Ian this, I'm at the point where I want John Robinson fired. I think he
You've been there for a while, Adam.
I don't know what else to feel about it. Like, I feel like all the players that we have are being coached to their potential because Mike Vrabel's a great coach. But name Jared. I mean, think, man, like the last 3 years, you and Caroline put your head together. What's he done that's good besides Christian Fulton? I can't think of one thing. Like, it all goes back to Jeff. Like, Jeff's is saving his job when he shouldn't because our offense is so incompetent. Like, it's so unbalanced that I feel like he should go. Like, he's the problem right now, dude.
Okay, so I want to address that for a second, but I do need your help for something, Adam. Adam dropped.
Adam.
I thought you were about to hang up on him.
I was not about to hang up on him.
Well, he's been around. He knows the deal.
I was going to say to Adam, because Adam knows, I was going to say, Adam, tell Caroline Steve McNair would have played. Because Steve McNair would have played. That's the one thing I keep saying about this Tannehill thing.
I am not saying that you are right or wrong. I am saying that is just ridiculous to say, considering we have zero information about what's going on with Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill said it was an ankle sprain.
He said that.
So that's what we know. But I know this. Everybody else who was here, they know Steve McNair would have played.
I don't know that.
Oh, you know Steve McNair would have played.
If he can't run, I mean, most of the injuries that Steve played through were mostly upper body injuries.
Oh, no, he had like a massive turf toe that he played through.
Okay.
You remember like on Monday Night Football when they would show the graphic and it was like the WebMD guy and they had like all the little things that were wrong with him all throughout his body?
Like operation?
Yeah, we know he played through a lot of injuries, but if he had a pretty severe ankle sprain and he couldn't run or move, I'm not convinced he would play. He missed games, right?
The only time Steve McNair didn't play was when Steve McNair had like a cracked sternum or back surgery. Like those are that. Like if Tannehill had a cracked sternum and didn't play, and then Steve McNair still played, but like if Tannehill had a cracked sternum, I would be like, okay, that
sounds pretty bad.
A little different. There was an injury to his sternum that later required surgery because a rib kept slipping against his breastbone, bone spurs in his ankle that had him limping, a shoulder surgery that became infected and needed weeks of intravenous antibiotics, bruised ribs, and a strained calf.
What's a strained calf?
I think that's like
pulled calf muscle?
Yeah, I think that's like the most obvious of
but like how bad is a strained calf?
I mean, it hurts.
Is it like, after you wear heels for a few hours, like my calves feel strained.
No,
I feel like I could suit up.
Derrick Henry,
put me in, coach.
Derrick Henry has only had 2 injuries in his NFL career. One was a broken foot. The other was a strained calf, and he missed games for it. No, I take that back. He had a hamstring injury, and he missed a game. But that was a strategic miss because the Saints game didn't matter because it was an NFC game. But the next week they played the Texans, which did matter. Mm-hmm. And so it had no effect on the standings if they had Derrick Henry for the Saints game, so they didn't play him. So I guess that's, a hamstring, a calf, and a broken foot.
Adam in Portland, Texas says, sorry, guys, I feared Jared cutting me off. And yes, Steve McNair would have played with 2 high ankle sprains, a torn bicep, turf toe, a kidney infection, and mono.
Steve McNair would have played. And that's the standard with which Ryan Tannehill has to compete against, is that everybody here knows Steve McNair would have played. And so it's Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. And again, you're going to win against the Broncos, the Jags twice, the Texans, and the Packers, and that is going to take you to 12 wins once you get 2 of the 4 remaining games, because, that could go either way. That's going to get you to 12 wins. The Chiefs are going to get to 12 wins, and the reason the Chiefs are going to play that playoff game in Arrowhead is because Tannehill didn't play on Sunday night, and Steve McNair would have played, and Steve McNair would have won, and that's just how it is. And that's the part that I'm starting to question Tannehill a little bit, because I'm starting to see this seems more and more like a low ankle sprain than it is a high ankle sprain. And if it is a low ankle sprain, as the one doctor told me today, it is a pain tolerance, which means Tannehill can't take the pain, and Steve McNair would have played through the pain. And I expect my quarterback, if you're one of these guys that always plays like Phillip Rivers played an AFC championship game with a torn ACL, I expect you to play. Eli Manning played with a broken foot. I expect you to play. Tom Brady's only missed a collection of games in his career with either a torn ACL or suspended by the commissioner. I expect you to play. That's all I'm saying. 615-737-1025. The most right person about the Titans and the Chiefs game is somebody that most of you all consider to always be the most wrong person. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Second and goal, and it's Henry walking into the end zone.
The Titans put up a fight.
And it's over.
But fall in overtime to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.
I feel terrible for the players that compete, put so much into this, and I'm lucky that I get to coach them.
Now all eyes shift to the Broncos. Talking Titans on Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
One night, Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply, or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Dr. Travis Stork here to tell you about a great pain reliever called Salon Pas Pain Relieving Patches. Salonpas is pain medicine in a patch. You stick it right on sore muscles for up to 8 hours. Clinical research has shown that people that used Salonpas reported less pain with improvement in mood, sleep, and the ability to work. Safe, effective relief is one peel-in-place away. Salonpas, it's good medicine.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Ryan has made some strides last week.
Yeah, he has. He worked extremely hard to try to get into a position to play in a football game. Go through this with all the injuries. Can they reasonably do their job up to the expectations that we have? Can they protect themselves out there, and can they make it worse? So I wasn't able to answer all of those questions, for him to be able to play in the game.
There you go. That was Vrabel. Now, I do want to get to this because the most right person, I was worried that most people were going to think, the Titans gave it their all, but they couldn't beat the mighty Chiefs, as everybody makes them out to be. Not Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, in my opinion, is the most right about the Titans-Chiefs game. You may hate Skip Bayless, and a lot of people do, but he is also the most watched sports personality in America. And Skip Bayless had his thoughts on the Titans game against the Chiefs, and he started off talking about what I said as far as my moral victory was concerned, that if Ryan Tannehill had played, we're probably talking about a different outcome.
This is the truth about that game. If Ryan Tannehill had been able to play last night, the Titans are going to win that game because he's going to give them enough offense to hold on to the football and score a few points here and there that's going to make it impossible for Patrick to be able to come back because the Titans defense in the big picture played well enough to win that game because they did a number on Patrick Mahomes even in the passing game.
Right.
It was a long slog for Patrick Mahomes, but he had so many opportunities.
And I was like, wow, Skip Bayless? And then for all the people out there that think that somebody told me yesterday that they hear people saying that, the defense wasn't doing enough for Malik or the receivers aren't doing enough for Malik. Guys, you can't win with Malik Willis, and Skip Bayless knows that.
I think last night was in the big picture misleading because Malik is not ready for prime time. Not that prime time against that team in that stadium because down the stretch of the fourth quarter, I know it's been just battered into his brain. Don't throw it to them. Right. Don't throw it to if you don't have it, throw it away.
Right.
But there comes a point in a game like that is teeter-totter. You got to cut it loose.
Right.
Every once in a while, he just wouldn't cut it loose.
Yeah.
I mean, Skip Bayless is 100% right.
He actually watched the game too.
Well, Skip always watched
it's Sunday Night Football.
Like the standalone games.
Different, yeah.
Skip watches those. Now the kickoff this week against the Broncos, no, but Skip watches that, and I'll tell you, I think a lot of people think that the Titans, the moral victory about the Titans are still right there. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. I've not checked the power rankings, but to have Skip Bayless be the voice of reason here is really
that is kind of a little bit alarming.
I also listened to Kansas City radio yesterday, and there was a lot of talk about, what do we make of it? Do we make of it as, hey, the Chiefs, sometimes you just got to find a way to win these games? Or are we concerned that they were 13-point favorites and they couldn't beat the Titans and that Malik Willis couldn't throw? And if Tannehill had played, what that would have meant? And apparently there was a lot of bitching about the refs from the callers on Kansas City radio. Apparently they think that the refs screwed the Chiefs over.
In what way?
I don't know, but they thought the officiating was horrendous.
The do-over with the 2-point conversion, that wasn't enough for them?
I guess not. But here's my thing. I mean, they did miss the Fulton PI, where Fulton hit Juju Smith-Schuster early. But
also, they missed a PI on Austin Hooper. So
for sure.
That's a wash.
Maybe it's one of those things where, if both sides think the officiating was bad.
Maybe it was just bad.
Or maybe it was good. You know what they say about negotiations. If both sides are unhappy, it means it's probably a pretty fair deal.
Right.
Just keep that in mind. John is up next on Ryan Tannehill's mysterious ankle injury that we don't know anything about. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Jared. Hey, listen, I wanted to let you know, Steve McNair, first of all, Steve McNair is my favorite quarterback. So there's no, I think he's the best of all time. That's my opinion. But the bottom line is this. He didn't play against Pittsburgh. It was, I don't know if it was the year before or the year after we went to the Super Bowl, but they put O'Donnell started for Steve McNair, and then he couldn't do anything against Pittsburgh. So towards the end of the game, they brought in Steve McNair, who threw a touchdown pass to Kenny. I was at the game. Tight end Kenny to win it. So Steve McNair could have played that game, but he didn't. He sat out until the end.
So here's what happened with that. Thank you for the call. Steve McNair had a cracked sternum, and the only way Steve McNair was going to play is if something happened to Neil O'Donnell, which also Neil O'Donnell had started a Super Bowl. So the difference in experience between Neil O'Donnell and Malik Willis was, let's just say, significant. So Neil O'Donnell started, and Steve McNair had a cracked sternum, and Neil O'Donnell got knocked out of the game. Like Eddie George had to help Neil O'Donnell off the field. And then Steve McNair, with a cracked sternum, came back in relief of Neil O'Donnell, threw one pass on 3rd and 11 or whatever that got Chris Sanders killed. And somehow Chris Sanders made the catch, and then threw the ball in the corner of the end zone for Aaron Kinney for the touchdown. But the fact that Steve McNair played with a cracked sternum tells you about Steve McNair, because Tannehill wasn't the backup this week. Where it's like, oh, well, we really don't want to play Tannehill, but, we'll keep him out there, whatever. No. Steve McNair played in that game and led them back to victory. But it was because Neil O'Donnell got knocked out of the game. And God, what I would give for Neil O'Donnell right now. This team needs a Neil O'Donnell so bad. You must think it's ridiculous, all of the fawning that every single person that is older, over the age of 26 years old, and grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, has for Steve McNair. Like the reverence for a guy who's like not a Super Bowl quarterback who, now McNair was fabulous in that Super Bowl, but it's not like his stats were ever earth-shattering. I know he won that one MVP with Peyton Manning.
I understand it, though.
But it's crazy because back in those days, it's like you can take Minnesota. Kirk Cousins wins a lot of games, but if you ask Viking fans, like, would you rather have this guy as your quarterback, or would you rather have that guy as your quarterback, or would you rather have that guy, they'd probably say yes. But like here, we didn't want Brett Favre. We didn't want Peyton Manning. We didn't want any of these guys, Tom Brady. We didn't want any of these guys that were the best in the league at the time because we had Steve McNair. And I'm just saying Steve McNair would have played Sunday. And Steve McNair would have won on Sunday.
Ryan Tannehill would have won on Sunday, too.
If he chose to play.
But that's the thing. Is it about choice? And we can't answer that question.
He threw it. He went over to Vrabel. They walked up the tunnel.
He threw it very stationarily.
He was inactive. Just keep that in mind.
If Tannehill could have played, he would have played.
I think he could have played.
How can you say that?
Because not one word has come out about high ankle sprain.
And not one word has come out about low ankle sprain either.
But one word has come out about ankle sprain. And a high ankle sprain, as WashU's website, which WashU is a great school.
It is a great school.
WashU's website says a high ankle sprain is a 4 to 6 week injury. If Ryan Tannehill had suffered a 4 to 6 week injury, he would not have been on the practice field on Thursday ahead of the Houston Texan game.
But
Logan Woodside would have been elevated to the active roster, and they would have placed Tannehill on IR so that they could then add another player for the active roster against both Houston and Kansas City instead of elevating Logan Woodside.
And they would have put him on IR if they thought it was going to be at least a 4-week injury. But don't you think there was maybe just a smidgen of hope that maybe it could be 3?
And maybe they didn't want to use another IR return slot.
So who's the 4th game against? Green Bay on Thursday Night Football?
Yes.
So that won't even be a full 4 weeks because that's on Thursday night.
Is it 4 weeks? Like calendar days, or is it 4 games?
I mean,
believe
the
it's
WashU thing
games. Well, are you talking about just being on
I was talking
IR?
about IR.
I was talking about...
the rule, I believe, is 4 games. Yeah.
4 games, okay.
But 4 games because the Titans play on Thursday is not within 4 weeks.
Okay, it is 3 weeks and 6 days, 5 days.
Well, it's a 4 to 6 week injury according to this, but he's already practiced 3 of the 6 possible days to practice.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
And again,
none of it makes sense.
every time a guy's out, they rule him out. Tannehill has not been ruled out except for when he didn't travel to Houston because of the stomach bug, but he was listed as questionable, whereas Mac Jones on the Friday, Belichick ruled him out before the Packer game. Before the Packer game, Belichick ruled him out.
Well, I mean, Mac Jones' ankle could have been worse.
Of course it was worse because it was a high ankle sprain.
So that's why he was ruled out.
Right, because it was a high ankle sprain.
Don't you think there's a severity of high ankle sprains?
Yes.
Or ankle sprains?
And if it's on a 4 to 6 week scale, and Mac came back in 3, and he had to be carried off the field screaming in pain, and they ruled him out, and he came back in 3 weeks, and Tannehill went back into the game after he suffered his ankle injury. Tannehill's ankle is clearly not as severe as Mac Jones.
So that's why they didn't rule him out.
Because it's not a high ankle sprain.
I don't know what it is.
It's a low ankle sprain. It's all about, this is what it's about. This is the testing. This is what it is. What it is the Titans want to know if Ryan Tannehill feels like he can get himself out of harm's way if he gets himself into harm's way. Just like when he returned in the Colts game and the throw he made to Hooper, where Hooper made that Houdini-like catch, Tannehill had to move away from pressure in the pocket. Tannehill went out there, felt like he couldn't do that, told Vrabel, maybe I could probably give it a go, but I think I'm going to be stuck in the pocket and I can't move around or whatever, and I don't feel like I'm going to be able to, adjust to the rush, step up, step back, slide left, slide right. And so Vrabel they decided, okay, you're out this game. But then it's not a high ankle sprain where he just couldn't even suit up and the doctor would say he can't play. It's where they're saying you can play if you feel like you can play. And Tannehill goes out there and he's like, I just don't feel like I can play. That's what it is.
Is that not fair?
No. Steve McNair would have played. It's a low ankle sprain. Jeffrey Simmons is playing. Play.
I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all. Who cares if Steve McNair would have played?
Because I thought Tannehill was like Dan Marino and would get his knee drained every week for a quote-unquote oil change.
Well, Tannehill's not like Dan Marino.
Clearly Tannehill is not one of those guys. He's not Phillip Rivers, who will play in an AFC championship game with a torn ACL. He's not Eli Manning, who will play with a broken foot. He's not Steve McNair, who will play with a cracked sternum. He's not Dan Marino, who misses with a torn Achilles, but doesn't miss with knee problems. He's not one of those guys. And
so what does that mean?
I thought he was.
Does it mean that the Titans won't win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill?
Well,
we already thought that.
It means he's a softie. I thought Ryan Tannehill was one of those dudes. I really did. Vrabel. What's the number one key about Tannehill? Extreme toughness.
Elite
toughness. Can he go in this game? No. Why? Hurts too much.
Seems valid
They
to
would
me.
have ruled him out. I am convinced of it. They would have
I
ruled him out.
know you are. Jared's operating room.
They rule everybody out. Everybody gets ruled out. You can't lie in the injury report. Not even the Patriots lied about Mac Jones on the injury report. When it was the Friday before the Green Bay game.
It was pretty obvious that Mac Jones was injured, though.
When it was the Friday before the Green Bay game, they said Mac Jones was out. Titans did not say Tannehill was out until they didn't travel him. And they didn't say Tannehill was out until an hour before kickoff. And you can't lie in the injury report. I'm just saying. Man, now I'm bummed out about Tannehill.
Why does this change anything?
Because I thought Tannehill was tough. And when Tannehill came back into that Colts game and threw that ball to Hooper and they beat the Colts, I was like, Ryan Tannehill, I salute you. Even though I spent all offseason bitching about you. I salute you. And now I'm like, get in the game. Watch, he'll practice tomorrow.
Maybe.
He'll practice tomorrow. And
Maybe.
If he doesn't practice tomorrow, then I got problems. But I already got problems now. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Edley's Barbecue. I love Edley's Barbecue. Let Edley's Barbecue, they're my guys. Let them cater your next event. Voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row, Edley's Barbecue is a winning pick. They've got pickup, delivery, and full-service catering options, which include full bar packages and bartending services, as well as if you got a small gathering going Or if you got corporate meetings, box lunches, team celebrations, trust me, my dad had a birthday party. We celebrated. We catered from Edley's. I love Edley's Barbecue. Call your neighborhood Edley's or go online at edleysbbq.com. Again, they got smoked wings. They got smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, scratch-made sides. They are fantastic. That's edleysbbq.com.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Look for partly to mainly clear skies as we head into the overnight. Temperatures on the cool side around 50. Another gorgeous day on tap Wednesday. Mainly sunny skies. Highs top off in the mid-70s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
The flex back for Duchesne. His shot stop and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There you go. Predators game day tonight against the Seattle Kraken in Seattle. Puck drop is at 9 o'clock. It's a late one tonight as they take on the Kraken on TNT. So be excited that national TV. And, of course, the game right here with pregame starting at 8 o'clock. Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes. Buying or selling or even thinking about buying or selling, you got to talk to TJ Anderson. He's my realtor. TJ has taken care of 2 home purchases for me and done even more for my friends. I have no hesitation in referring them to him and his wonderful staff. TJAndersonHomes.com has great tools like home reports if you're selling your home, or reports on value, equity, and suggestions on what you can do with that equity, and instant notifications as well. Again, that's TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, TJAndersonHomes.com. Let me say this. I turned off the game Saturday and went to bed thinking they were going to lose to the Vancouver Canucks. They came back and they found a way to win. And we start with the coach's take. Here's John Hines on what's cracking with the Kraken.
Well, I mean, we're certainly aware of, their strengths. I mean, they've made some additions to their team in the offseason that I think have made them a better team. Both special teams are playing well. Their goaltender is doing well, and they're finding the way to win games. So, our players are aware of that. We know it's going to be a challenge, as it is every single night. But, for us, again, I think it's making sure that we understand what their strengths are, but we have to make sure that we get mentally and physically ready to play the game that gives us the best chance.
No line changes as well, according to John Hines tonight, which means get more excited for Jordan Gross. He'll be back in there. And no Alexander Carrier. I mean, I thought he was so great. I guess
everybody loves Alexander Carrier.
All right, here's my final thought today, again presented by TJ Anderson Homes. Final thought today is a win tonight. Then they get Colorado on Thursday. They're probably not going to win against Colorado. Get the win tonight. Get back home. Get off this road trip and see if they can kind of continue to turn their season around a little bit. That's it for us. We are out of here. Again, the pregame starts at 8 o'clock tonight for the Preds and the Kraken. The puck drop is at 9 o'clock. Stillman and Company. We'll see you all tomorrow.